It has been a while, hasn't it? Welcome everyone back to NLC Division 2 playoffs. I'm Carvis, finally back, joined by the ever so cool Zapdos. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, Carvis. I'm doing good until, of course, you ruined my evening because for everyone who doesn't know, me and Carvis, wanted to hang out because, of course, he's done production beforehand, but it's been so long since we've been able to have the pleasure of casting together. And then I'm like, okay, let's play a fighting game. And then, Carvis, do you want to say what you did to everybody?
They have beaten him up a little bit. Turns out I'm kind of good at fighting games. Who knew?
2,000 hours, that's definitely a new person. But all jokes aside, we are here for NLC Division 2, our second playoffs, of course, Blue Wolf versus Fourth Wall or Blue White. And I'm super excited to see how both these teams do. Remember, Fourth Wall won both times in the regular split. For best of three, there's adaptations, there are different ways that maybe they can pick up a victory here.
Yeah, and the main thing I look forward to seeing is how Fourth will approach a best of five scenario. Both of the times that they beat Blue Whites, first of their wins was on a very traditional Fourth Wall style composition with Toxie on a hyper carry, while on the second time around in the recent days, they brought out the Anivia, which
Yeah.
has shown up a couple of times from the mid lane, with Pipey hopping on a Kog'Maw Brawl, with kind of a G2 like composition with a wild card thrown in there. So they definitely have a lot more depth into them than they have shown in the group stage.
Yeah, and Carvis, you also have to remember with the different patches coming out, Volibear is also an option for both of these teams to pick up because last time that hasn't been that popular. Rel was up there, but we do know that the Jungle of Deleters has a few interesting picks behind the scenes, has that Rengar, has that Kiana, so I'm excited to see if they're going to pick anything unique today.
Yeah, they have a ton of interesting options. Seems like we are ready to go into draft that is underway.
Come on, Carvis.
And
I'm
the
ready.
battle.
I'm ready for some spice. Come on. Camille support, maybe a Nivea in the mid lane. But so far, keeping it simple, ban away the Draven and the way on blue white. Full game with the Smolder and the Vows. There's one thing I've noticed about this meta is everyone wants to just keep banning away these ADCs.
AD carry is an incredibly strong position in Division 2 player-wise as well, where you have Pipey, who is a huge powerhouse when it comes to these aggressive hyper carry style picks. While on the other side, Blue Whites has Snurmi, who has preferred to play the Ezreal, Varus utility, high range style characters that fend for themselves quite well. And you see all three of them, the mainstays, getting taken out. This leaves the rel open that Blue Whites will happily snap up.
And I'm very curious about this rail pick because both the jungler and the support for blue whites haven't played it much in the regular split. They usually like to ban it away or give it towards the enemy, so maybe some more practice on that can really show dividends as it can go in both those lanes. As we do see fourth wall, what they want to pick instead. Of course, the Vows getting taken away, so with the Draven, there's a lot of the AD carries already off the maps. They need to pick up one, and it is going to be that Jinx. And you said about having the side of Pipey being a very big hyper carry. If you add an Ivan and a Jinx, it's the great building blocks for that.
This is also one of the first Ivan picks in NLC Division 2, if I'm not incorrect. We don't
I
have too
do
many
believe
Ivan
so.
players, and Delete is now bringing it out already on Red 2. This opens up a ton of priority picks. Things like the Olaf could suddenly turn extremely powerful if Victor wants to bring that out. However, Blue White, they want to go aggressive. Lucian Nami locked in. They are heading right at the enemy team.
Yeah, because
Oh,
Cardiff,
and
you have to. Okay. All right, I might have to
what?
hold my statement. That's the Rengar lock-in. Remember, we said the Deletas had some spicy picks. Look right down below me. I have to say Rengar is one of them. We're going to have to see if they want to put this towards the jungle, to the top lane as well. But most likely, if it goes towards the jungle, where's this Ivan going?
Are we seriously gonna kick off the series with Iron Rengar? This is a meme. This is an absolute meme composition that everyone is like, hey, we have Iron, let's pick Rengar here. Then Mad Lads actually did it, and now Blue Whites are they have to figure
They're a
out how
bit
to deal with
scared.
this.
I mean,
Poppy
I
over.
would be scared in solo queue, let alone in actual pro play. Of course, instantly banning away that Poppy because I was thinking in my brain, Poppy's open here, stops Rengar from playing the game, but with that disengaged tool completely gone, Forfall now, they just need to keep building a composition to allow this Rengar to become an absolute just monster in these games. And even if they try and focus Rengar, you still have Jinx being that damage dealer in towards the back line. But I'm still curious on like how does this draft work? Because you have a Jinx, there's a mobile AD character you want to defend, but then you want to defend Rengar as well. So there's so many different options to go here.
These hovers are. I think they might be memeing us a little bit here, but there's multiple options. This Rengar can go into top lane. This can go into either solo lane. I'm expecting it to be Ivan mid paired up with the Rengar, but again, we don't know what fourth wall is cooking. They haven't shown this before. This is new tech coming out from them. Leona locked in to support the Jinx, matching the aggression of the Lucian Nami, and now we get to see how do Blue Whites respond to this newfound threat.
And the big difficulty is, you said exactly, we don't know what lanes they go as ourselves, and we're the ones doing full prep before these games. So they're going to have to pick side that can counteract the Rengar, but can still kill the Jinx. So with the Lucian Nami, yes, they could do huge damage, but I'm very scared that they're instantly going to get bursted out. So maybe a defensive tool like a Gragas, maybe even a Tam Kench could be a really good pickup, maybe in towards the top lane against that Rengar. Can do okay, can scale up towards the late, but instead they will pick up that Akali, trying to have some more assurance of killing this Jinx later on into the game, and picking up that Jax as well, which is a good counter towards the Rengar as he jumps in, has that counter strike, have that with the rail as well. So enough CC, they may have a chance to play these fights.
And also the Akali able to survive Rengar burst quite easily, hopping into the shroud if you see a leap coming at you ever, basically just deters the Rengar completely. Greg is being locked in last, so it is indeed going to be the Ivan mid heading up against the Akali. And Gragas, well, I think people have seen this matchup a couple of times. Jax does not like the fat guy.
And I actually really like the Gragas as a last pick, because when we think the way that Forfall wants to play, they want to get down and dirty, they want to get scrappy, but most importantly, they want players in isolation. So imagine a Gragas cast, Rengar ultimate on top, you get the Jinx slightly outplaced, so any of the other members except for that Leona, they are instantly going to just get bursted out. So there are plenty of opportunities for Forfall in this early game to be able to do so much. My only big concern is their bot lane will get pushed in by the Lucian Nami. Ivan versus Akali all the way through the game is going to get pushed in. So they need to find these fights post level 6. Otherwise, they will just get pushed in and lose major objectives because their team can't move.
Indeed. Oh, well, with this is a banger to kick off game one with. Coming into this, as I said, we did quite a bit of prep. I've watched both of these teams. The Blue White Lads I've watched for multiple years, and Fourth Wall, I cast a ton of their games this season. Did not expect Ivern and Rengar to show up in the same game in our game one, but this is how the draft has played out, and this is the beauty of best of fives, in my opinion. You will never know what teams are cooking in the early games.
See, this is the weird thing. You expect this to maybe come out in game 2 or game 3 to throw an absolute curveball at them. But to have it in your first pick and ban, you really have some confidence on your picks. And the fortunate thing is for Fourth Wall is if they bring this out and it does amazing, in their next game it's going to get picked or banned away from them, most likely banned. And if it goes terribly wrong, they're like, okay, it's one game. We still have 2 more opportunities before we fully lose. So maybe game 1 is the best opportunity to do that. Because remember, both of these teams being the exact same scores in the regular split, being 13 and 5 apiece. So if you have to think about the closest series, of course, we had Rich Gang beforehand, who just barely won out on that 3-2. This would be the closest series on paper.
On paper, yes, but as I said, in regular season, Fourth Wall had the upper hand over Blue Whites, and if you don't successfully defend against this cooking that Fourth Wall has brought to the table, this could be a huge mental blow. Let's be real. Losing to Ivan Rengar in game 1 of playoffs, that could be an absolute tilter. So Blue Whites under heavy pressure right from the get-go.
Yeah, but still, they have plenty of opportunities to try and defend themselves in this, as I do believe we should be getting in game in just a second.
In just a moment. Hopefully we don't have the pause that has been plaguing.
There we go.
A summoner has disconnected.
And looks like, yes, we have a pause.
Come on, if we need to have spicy picks, we need to have a few pauses. If it isn't League of Legends, if it isn't NLC Division 2, always something has to go a little awry. But it just gives us more time to think, to theorycraft, to get excited for this Rengar and Ivan, because actually, if you don't believe me, the mid laner hasn't played the Ivan, yes, but their jungler of Deletus has both played the Ivan and both played that Rengar as well. So he's got comfortability on both of these champions, so he will know how to play around it. So if we want to look at this game into higher details, it's really guides about the mid 2v2, especially when they get those bushes down and we start seeing this Rengar really go ham in this game.
The danger about the mid 2v2 though is that the Akali will need some levels and items to properly become a threat. And well, Ivan, surprising amounts of base damage on Daisy at level 6. So even if you find a 2-on-2, you're still battling against basically a 3-on-2 with the Daisy just hammering away at either one of the targets. Akali, of course, can hop into the Shroud and make it a little bit more difficult, but it's going to be about finding someone out of position, I feel like. Otherwise, it's Blue Whites won't be looking to fight. They look to play through the bot side of the map.
Yeah, you're completely correct. Bot side, of course, being very strong, have that Lucian Nami available, so they'll have constant pressure down there. One thing is, with that Nami ultimate that comes at level 6, it does have a possibility if Rengar jumps in as that Nami ultimate comes out, where it can completely disengage that team fight. But still, I feel like Rengar is in a great position to go back to that mid 2v2 we were talking about. Just imagine if this Rel ever tries to engage with this Akali, no matter level 6 or before or afterwards, I don't think they have enough damage because they have this shield from the Ivan. They have so many dashes away, and when level 6 hits with that Daisy coming through, if one of them mispositions, mostly this Rel, they are just going to get slowed up, stunned up, and just get killed by this Rengar. So it seems really difficult to start really getting themselves into a big lead. So one thing I would like before this game, for the side of Blue Whites, to maybe start stacking these drakes early on to give themselves that opportunity to scale up and get in a good position to one-shot that Rengar instead of the opposite.
Well, we'll get to see if Blue has just does that. We are ready to go into the game. And for level 1, I'm not expecting to see a ton of aggression.
Yep, 5 point most likely going to come out from both of these teams. We actually see the Conqueror rune on the Rengar, most likely going for more of a bruisery build, which I am a big fan of, mostly because with the tankiness that Ivan will provide to him as well, and with the defensive capability of Sir Victor and Fabius to make it absolutely messy, having that bruisery build will allow him to become this big powerhouse that his team truly needs. It does look like Real will be starting towards the top side, has that aftershock, as remember the side of Blue Wolves want to try and get things going early towards this bot side.
And playing for level 2, of course, only bot side has the tools to be aggressive. But against the Leona, how does this Lucian Nami play out the early lane? Can they play aggressively without risking falling a prey to a deleted level 2 or 3 play coming after this blue buff start? That's what I'm really worried about.
I actually think that they most likely will be quite safe in this bot lane. One thing you notice a lot of teams doing when you are winning lane is stacking up those 3 waves, pushing it under tower, and if you ever try and poke them out a little bit before that, maybe setting up a dive for the Veil, but of course she's starting towards the top side, so that's not going to happen. So instead, push out the wave, get yourself an early reset, and then set up that freeze, because the way that Leona likes to play is having the tower near her and having a long time to run down the enemy and allow the Jinx to really start scaling up, compared to that freeze. If the side of Blue Whites is able to really get themselves going, they can just instantly burst them out, come back to lane, keep that freeze, and constantly keep doing that, making it where the Leona doesn't really feel like a useful pick.
Indeed. Looks like we are resolving some technical difficulties real quick. As not only we have a pause in game, the cat sometimes have to resolve some issues. Okay, everything is looking good on my end now.
Yep.
But
For everybody behind the scenes, it was a little bit laggy on our side, so we needed to make sure that we got ourselves perfectly ready. Because, Carvis, how are we meant to cast a good League of Legends game when we're down there at like the 30 FPS, the Dragon Dog level stuff? Maybe we'll add transactions into the game. I don't even know at this point. But now we're able to sort this, probably get back in a few minutes' time, I believe.
I mean, if this game works the same way, the more people die on the Rift, the better it should get. So maybe we'll have a ton of aggression. Hopefully, maybe. Not likely with this draft, at least for the couple of early levels, but Hopefully, with the pulse getting resolved soon, we're gonna have. So, what can we talk about here? We haven't mentioned the top lane matchup though. Jax against Gragas. We did pass by it, saying that Fat Man likes interrupting Jax through his combos, but when it comes to the mid and later stages of the game, matchup starts to turn around a bit. I feel.
Well, I would kind of agree and kind of not agree because it's really a skill matchup mostly on the Gregor side to stop the Jax from finding the lead. Because yes, when Jax gets higher up, the damage isn't going to be able to burst through him like he is early on. Because when you have the body slam, when you have that cast, Jax ever gets on top of you, you just body slam into him and just walk out and then use the cask underneath him. And it feels like Jax just can't play the game. This is actually why we see him taking more of a defensive rune, getting himself that grasp, meaning that he'll get a little bit tanky in towards the late game, but Gragas will constantly be able to push out these waves and constantly be able to, I feel like, mess up these team fights more. Because the only way I feel like this Jax is going to have massive use in this game is if he plays these team fights correctly, where he will be in that front line, making sure that he has that counter strike ready to either get onto Jinx and burst her, or leave it where Rengar walks in to stun them straight up and try and help the team burst and do, especially with that Lucian army to try and deal most of that damage.
I also wouldn't be surprised if, along with the grasp, he brings demolish into this game just to force someone constantly to deal with the Jax pressure on the sidelines. Can take down towers surprisingly fast once he has the Trinity Force finished. So while the Gragas can, if allowed, mess up a ton of team fights, he needs to deal with the Jax on the side lane eventually.
Yep, as I do believe the game is ready and we'll be getting into it yet again. But no, you're definitely correct about this. One thing we haven't talked much about is Blue White's 1-3-1 capabilities. They have the Jax, they have the Akali. Akali will be, of course, being able to push out the wave against Toxie. Floxa may not be winning down that fight, but will have that push pressure. So if they ever want to leave the Lucian army to stay safe into the mid lane, play for those side lanes to get themselves ahead, that could be a great way to stop this Rengar from becoming a massive damaging forces in these team fights.
But teamfight's still a long time away, as Floxa gives him the good old Jax Counter-Strike handshake, has the level 2 priority, leap strikes ahead, but there you can see the basic Gragas play pattern. Usually will have the phase rush proc as well, will be, let's say, hauling ass out of there every single time that happens.
Yeah, both junglers making sure that they are not going to be spotted on any wards. We do see the blue-white shells will be pathing towards the bot side, trying to spot them as the Leetus went to top lane. There's actually a specific ward in towards the bottom river, that fourth ward place that I really like, because you see this big wave actually crashing in for blue-whites. If Yones actually went for an invade in towards the enemy jungle and bullied them out, there was that full possibility of setting up that dive. So with that ward down there, it did actually make sure that that was not possible, allowing both these teams to just scale up, as I feel like no one could really do a lot early on, except this Lucian army, who are just trying to get themselves a CS lead.
And CS lead, while at the current moment, looks like it's a 10 CS lead, the wave is just about to crash underneath the tower. Pipey and Fabio should be fairly good to hold off the wave here, not even taking too much damage since Nordomir Nuggets can't reach the Jinx that far up. Just getting a couple auto attacks in. And this entire time, Jax has been crashing the wave, with Blue Whites getting basically a double cheater recall opportunity. Instead, Stormir Nuggets decided to hold off on that, keep the pressure up, while Yones could be setting up for a bot side play.
It may not even be the bot side play he's going for. He can maybe instead pick up the bot lane Scar Crab, get himself just the same exact rating as Rengar. Because one thing is, Rengar's very quick at clearing. See, he's already finished it compared to Vel, who hasn't picked up their Scuttle Crab. Actually, instead, going for that reset, making sure that he can support his top side to be able to push out this wave, trying to make sure that Rengar can't find anything in this game early on, as it is going to be slow pushing back to Blue Whites. We talked about beforehand, we would like them to set up a freeze early on to make sure that Pipey and Fabius cannot move up and cannot go for that invade, which means if they actually went for the reset there, I don't think they would have had enough time to get back and set up that freeze.
And the lead is going all the way down to the spot side of the map. They're going in. Fabio has found the stun, forcing the flash out of Eggets. Probably can't reach the fish. But possible counterplay coming in from Blue Whites. They have the Rel and the Kali rotating over to the river. Just the question, can they make it there fast enough? No vision on the side of fourth wall, but they are a bit too afraid to go for the play with the wave pushing in Pipey, and Fabio looking to take a recall to replenish their resources.
That's just a big play coming out from 4-4's bot lane. They get to push in the wave, they get to find that reset, and most crucially, they make sure that that freeze does not come through. So blue-white's bot lane.
They've called Fabio, interrupted the recall, stunned up. Snorby can't get the DPS in, and they escape with a sliver of HP left, but both the Leona Flash now burned. Supports having no defensive options now. This opens up a ton of play opportunities now on the spot side for both teams.
Yeah, you say that they don't have any opportunities. Remember, that is going to be Hextech Flash available for Fabiux. So if he wants to try and make something outside of a bush, there is a possibility there. Towards the top side, because Rengar was down there for so long, Jones was able to pick up one of the Rift Scuttlers. It isn't going to be anything major, but something small like that can definitely help, especially with Philoxa, who wants to maybe be the split pusher in the game, as Rengar will be stealing away those Raptors. Ninetales bot lane has got push pressure, same with the mid lane, as now we see Jones is trying to look. Does he have it available? Of course he doesn't, as Rengar's done a very good job of getting himself that CS lead, only 2 at this moment, but he will get up to about 6 after this camp.
Another thing this does is split the map to bot side. Fourth wall want to keep this Lucian Nami lane isolated. Rel will have no resources on this side of the map, just basically wasting time here, as fourth wall have already started up the dragon, keeping FOMO at bay, using the Daisy to clear the wave. And even with the small CS disadvantages, they get the first dragon, and we were talking about how blue-whites were going to be the ones controlling this objective with the Lucian Nami aggression. Instead, fourth wall played the map perfect.
Exactly. When we look at the enemy jungle, there are 2 wards down bot side, 1 ward on the top side in the enemy jungle. So blue-white's constantly getting spotted out where Jones is, meaning that he isn't able to CS up, as he is 10 CS down. He gets himself back on the map, and he will finally be able to farm up, but Rengar should be able to reach level 6 first, and I will be curious what they want to do with it. Do they want to try and help push out mid, getting themselves the Void Scuttlers, especially with that power spike coming out from the Rengar, or instead, do they just want to keep scaling and wait for this dragon?
They want to go in on the bot side. Snormi has to get healed by Eggets, taking a ton of damage. Pipey Flash, forward zap, hits, and the first blood's looking close. One more rocket is enough. Pipey can't reach him, but now Eggets without the flash, stuck in a 1 versus 2. A kill eventually does go over as fourth wall gets first blood.
And that's a massive mistake coming up for Snormi. He had that flash available. He should have done that before Fabiux was able to hit the E. Even with the cleanser flash, it just isn't enough, as Eggets is going to die here. This wave is going to push under, and I can't even get the golden XP. So I do expect Pipey and Fabiux to be able to just burst him out if he ever comes near this wave.
And it's such a rough situation. Eggets is there to heal him up a little bit, but with the Hex Flash available for Fabio, you have to watch the wall. I think they have some vision there that's being cleared out by the Leona, so able to secure most of the wave, but with Rengar having level 6 approaching the brushes, the danger is not over. They're looking for Pipey, but Snormi could be overextending, picks up the kill, but loses his life in response. Fabio can't see here, gets down, but a kill traded over to the Rengar. Show who this favors.
That's still a massive win on the side of fourth wall, as they get to hold the freeze down bot lane when they want to. That's a big factor.
Bomba. Victor, already using his ultimate, dodges away from the counter strike, but low mana flashes forward. Victor still has the flash. W proc and the auto attack for the win. Victor may die here though. One more minion, it could be enough. Almost there, looking for the kill. Yeah, Victor should be losing his life here. Ultimate spent, eventually secures the kill.
Yeah, no, it does mean the Pomo will have to move up here and lose a wave in towards the mid lane. As a good play coming out from Zer Victor to pick up that kill, as it always feels like Forful are the ones to be the aggressors, the ones to keep bullying out the enemy. And now that Toxie has pressure in towards the mid lane, just go out to the enemy jungle, make sure that Loxa, or sorry, Jones yet again, can't come down here, and their strong power side of Snormi and Eggets, with a wave like this, they need to get it in, otherwise they will just get dove down towards the bot side.
And this, I love what the latest is doing here, just stealing away resources on the bot side as much as he can, just to get that small edge on levels and map priority on the rel. And Rengar's not the style of jungler that you normally think of doing this with. You'd expect this to be something like a Lilia who can instantly clear the Raptors and run away at a lightning speed. But Rengar out of all things, keeping the map split up.
I mean, it's just a 500 gold lead. What do you expect? He's just been playing it to perfection, making sure that his bot lane has always been defensive, allowing this Jinx to scale up, because a Jinx versus Lucianami will always be better later on, as Fabius does a good job of holding that W available. Jinx finally hits level 6. Fabius very close to that as well, as they can maybe make another play like that as well. We'll be going towards the top side. We'll be able to at least get a few things back. And this is the first time we've seen it where 4th don't have full control over this bot side. But I still don't think they can dive, especially when they do have the flash ignite on Fabius.
Also, interestingly, Jones doesn't have the sweep out. So while he does get vision onto the enemy Gromp and blue buff area, he had no way of checking if 4th will have vision in either one of those brushes on the bot side of the map. Expecting, yeah, now he changes it. And with that, the possibility of a dive angle was also gone. If 4th wall responds well, if they have vision, that could have been disastrous, setting Snorami back even further as they try to control this Jinx heading into the mid game. But the lead is again lurking and spotted out by the ward earlier placed by Jones.
Yeah, Toxic does have teleport available if they wanted to go for that dive as well. But still, with this rail going towards bot lane, trying to look for that dive, it not working out, not even getting those camps up there, just allows Rengar to get further and further ahead, especially when they've already picked up their first dragon, looking to pick up their second in just a second, as 4th wall or blue whites now have to think, do we want to try and contest this, or instead give it up and try and look towards the top side? But I don't think they got a choice here. Zelita's popping that ult saying, hey, don't mess with my bot lane.
I think they were looking for a solar flare onto Snormi, but he has the cleanse up. Eggets also has a heal to provide additional health with. Instead, they just get plant priority and go for the dragon. Daisy almost finished, so they don't have too much time to play this with. Pipey also really low on HP. They go to Momo instead, popping the crowd already with a huge engage coming out from Jones. They found Pipey, will fall, and the bubble onto 2. Snormi stealing full damage. They secure the shutdown on the bomber, but it goes to Fabio out of all people. The lead is hopping for dear life, but he is mid-air. 3-4-2 for blue whites as Victor secures a solo kill on the top side.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened top lane, but what incredible play from blue whites. We always keep talking. Their bot lane hasn't been able to get pressure. Their bot lane just can't do it. But now, huddling them in towards the middle of this river, with this big wall, making sure that this Jinx with no flash has to walk into Pomo, walk into Jones, who instantly engages onto them, gets themselves a double kill, get themselves a dragon, but most importantly, gets themselves a lead in this bot lane. As now 4th wall have a position they have to deal with, as now Snormi, with that first side completed, so close to that second, it's going to be so strong at this part in the game.
And in that team fight, a huge double bubble from Eggets basically secures the team fight win for them. The leaders was doing his best. He got a ton of hops onto key targets, but without the first item there, the Rengar isn't able to deal enough damage just yet to one-tap these key targets. And with only 1 kill coming out of that bot side fight at the river, the Rengar passive doesn't get stacked up too much either.
Yeah, only 1 kill to the name as mid lane, and no cloak damage will come through. Stun lands, but that won't end up much more than that. But one thing also, you said about the Lita slam that first item, neither did that Jinx as well. Now we can see with that 1.5 item onto Snormi, there's nothing Pipey can do. He walks up to the wave and just gets bursted out.
Teleport coming in. They want to punish Snormi for this overextension. Daisy's there saying hello, flash over, and the leaders would love to go in. Mega Death Rocket only hits Eggets, and with the Rengar ultimate over, 4th wall again missing the chance to go in onto this blue-white bot side, and this entire time, Yo's securing the objective.
Yeah, blue white's really happy with that. Getting the teleport out of the enemy team. Pomo in the mid lane being able to pick up one of these tower plates. Now having Toxie as well, losing two minion waves as well. It's going to be a big win. And with those Rift Scuttlers going over, the gold lead has now gone to 1,000 gold lead over ward to the side of blue whites, just because of that play going away for blue whites. And now they have full pressure towards the top side. They could set up vision and maybe get ready for something more.
They want to keep looking for this bot lane play. Again, hitting Snormi, cleanses away. Greg is coming in, has the flash for the body slam if he wants to go for more. Eggets will surely fall, getting the knockback. That's a very tanky fat man approaching the tower. Fabio tanking the tower just to get the kill onto Delete, shut down, and a third kill. A fourth wall jungler as Bomo taking down the mid lane tower. Akali apparently strong enough to take that.
Yeah, smiling just at the end. He's been like, all right, let me just take this tower. And yet again, another teleport by Sir Victor getting used towards this bot side. But is that really worth it? Yes, Rengar could pick up a tower on his own, but both Pomo and Flux to get one themselves. I feel like that's still a big trade over to the side of Blue Whites. They get a 500 gold lead from that, but it does mean that Snormy is going to be a little bit less powerful now, even though those two items will come through as a rapid fire second item. I'm not sure how to feel about this. Yes, it gives him extra range, but I'm not sure how I feel about this, Carvis. What about you?
It's been popping up recently on live patch as well. This gives the Lucian a ton more safety to play with. He moves around a ton, so he stacks it up fast. And against characters like the Gragas, against the Ivern, you really want to stay away from Daisy and kite it as much as you can. So I can understand why he goes for rapid fire cannon here. The question is, will he have enough damage to pop the enemies like so? Pipey getting shielded up by Toxie. Don't even lose HP.
They're going to be completely fine there themselves. Snormy, you talk about this rapid fire cannon. Remember, when he does go for ability and he gets those double auto attacks, both of them do get used to that rapid fire cannon. So it's a little bit more damage than you would expect from that. Should be great use in these big team fights. But remember, this Ivan's been pretty untouched in the mid lane. It's going to be down 60 CS, which is quite a bit, but still has that first item completed, and the healing and shielding will start ramping up, and that's going to be the big issue for Blue Whites is later on in this game, will they have enough damage to get through all of the shielding and healing from the Ivan, or is that really not going to be much use? Because of course they can't get through someone like a Leona, but maybe a Jinx with a shield on top might be a bit too much as well.
Critically, they don't have anyone who can build circuits back either, so no cutting those shields in half. They would just have to go with raw damage and the Relic Q through the Ivern shielding. And fourth wall, they know that they're strong. First and second items is probably where this comp is going to spike hardest, and they instantly force the issue onto the mid wave, pushing it back, setting up vision around the dragon area, and they are fully committed to try and secure the soul of this game.
Yeah, and one thing I'm... Bob, you be careful.
Pomo, you may be in a bit of a pickle here. Trying to burst out Deletus, but the shield from Toxie barely enough to keep Deletus alive. I did not expect the Akali to turn that one around, but he certainly did. Blue Whites instantly go for the play into the mid lane tower, sending the Herald in, taking a nice chunk out of it. Again, this secures priority for the Rengar to take the dragon, and now Blue Whites again on the back foot.
Yeah, I think there was a small mistake coming out from Blue White because they were pinging towards the top side, pinging towards bot lane. Maybe we just give this up and don't fight over this dragon and go for these side waves. So if they had Veloxa up towards the top lane constantly, they could have been able to pick up that top lane tower for free. But instead, it looks like all the damage they dealt to the leaders early on is really paying dividends at home. And it has that teleport. So now Blue White is going to steal away this dragon. And yes, they have the drinks, only having that one item though. Means they don't have that burst damage. Their mid laner of Ivan doesn't deal any damage to these objectives.
Yeah, damn, Blue White's looking kind of strong on their back foot, am I right? Instantly proving me wrong, securing the objective. And yeah, with the Akali being this strong, we already saw it on the turnaround. Soon we'll be able to finish the second item, I assume, of this recall. Almost turning into quite the side lane threat that will have to deal with, and I think this is the game plan to go for if you're Blue White. Again, try to chunk out Pipey and Fabio in the mid lane, force them back, and have Jax and Akali take over the rest of them.
Especially with those two dragons their name, it's going to take at least 15 minutes on the side of fourth wall to try and get themselves that soul if they want to go for it. And that feels a little bit too long, so Blue Whites have plenty of time to play around these side lanes. As I do want to say, the first item from Yones I adore as an AD carry player, especially when it's that Knight's Vow, meaning when Deletus tries to one-shot them, it's going to have a lot harder of a time to do so.
Indeed so.
I feel like with how you said that, you're not the biggest fan of it.
I'm trying to understand it.
Okay. Carvis, the reason that you build an item like the Knight's Vow is, yes, it isn't going to be that strong at dealing damage or being that biggest tank, but it's all about the passive on the item to make it where a certain percentage of the enemy's damage onto the ally that you picked actually goes towards you instead, meaning that the burst damage from the Rengar is going to be basically halved in that. As Sir Victor might need to be a bit careful here. We'll get spotted on the ward, and there's 3 members strong here.
They are. Victor taking a huge chunk out of the Lich Bane damage. To bring Pommel with him with the Blast Cone, and now Pommel's stuck underneath the entire enemy team. Victor survives, and the mid laner of Blue Whites dies. And this is the main thing that I'm concerned. It's not about surviving Deletus' burst. It's having an extended fight against the Ivern Jinx and coming out ahead as Victor teleports in. Without the mid laner, Blue Whites struggling to find a foot in the door. Of course, they have infinite sustain going into this Baron pit, so they can just hold off. But Victor overextends. This could be an instant 4-on-4. A ton of cooldowns for a solo player. Lands onto 2. Fourth wall can't find the angles to go in. Finally, the brush gets him onto Aegis, but seized up by the Rel. Julius has flash away. The Pipey's just free hitting, trying to get the resets off. Jones finally going to fall, and the rest of Blue White's running away, but Pipey's going wild. That is a quadra kill onto the Jinx.
And what a quadra kill it was. 4th wall playing on a knife's edge as Toxie on this Ivan just looked absolutely busted. Many times.
Where did Pommel come from? He shuts down the Jinx instantly. Now the DPS is mostly gone from 4th wall. The lead is stuck in the Baron pit thinking, what do I do now? My AD carry's gone. And the rest of the team trying to look for an angle to go onto this Akali, but the damage is just too much to deal with. Fabio able to protect his jungler, and finally he should fall to the auto attacks. Toxie, never mind. The region's still there. Oh, the shield does a bit of damage, but with Victor approaching, finally they finish with the kill. But Pommel bought enough time to prevent the Baron.
Don't even know where he came from. I'm taking a look. The teleport wasn't available. He must have just walked in. The excitement we had for that Jinx getting a quadra kill absolutely snuffed out by Pommel doing a great job of just holding on, spending that time in that Baron will not go over to the side of 4th wall. But we're seeing the power of this team comp. You said 2 items is where they dive, and that's exactly where they are. We got that Moonstone, got that Redemption, and especially with that Titanic Hydra onto that Rengar as well. They have so much healing, so much shielding, as it feels like Blue Whites have no ways of countering it, especially when all of your armor and all your magic resist on Yone is mostly down to like trying to defend your AD carry, even though he's not the one getting one-shot in these fights. It's Eget's.
And this is the strength of 4th wall's composition. They can not only burst people down really, really easily if they find a pick with the ring or Jinx style. Solo player, long range engage. They have Ivan to follow it up with Root. They can hold someone down for ages, but not only that, they can sustain with Ring or W. They have the shielding, they have the Gragas regen. Look at that! That poke didn't even matter! Deletus is back to full through the healing reduction.
And Carvage, you've almost forgot as well, as top lane, there will be a bit of a tussle here. I don't think it's going to be a kill, though.
Ah, well, they're definitely committing to it. Pommel getting bombarded away. He still has the second part of Ultimate Beast is everything. Now Victor has to turn it around. Where did he? That barrel's inside the wall. Victor. That's not where Pommel is. One more Q to slow him up as the red team has slain Dragon. But Pommel should be able to secure the kill. Just need to watch out the body slam combination. The 1v1 still going as the Baron has started up. Secure the kill onto Victor finally. But now the lead is looking for any ways to get a pick off. The tension is high around this Baron area, and Pipey still hitting the mid lane tower, able to take it down. Gonna go upwards to the inner as well, forcing Blue Eyes to take the long way around, but that's a long sequence of events that just happened.
Yeah, I feel like we just completely forget what happened in that top lane fight. Everything was going right, everything was going wrong. but it does look like Akali will come up on top of that fight. And we did see Blue White starting that Baron, thinking maybe they can steal it away. But 4th Wall doing a good thing of trying to defend that. It's 2 dragons apiece, as both of these teams are right on the knife's edge, only 200 gold between them. And one thing I don't think we talked about enough is this Jinx or Pipey being 6-3-2. We've always said Rengar's could be the damage dealer, but remember what Jinx's passive is. Whenever you kill one person, either if they get an assist or a kill, they get themselves hyped up, they get a ton of attack speed, and they can take over the fights. So if deleters can physically delete someone, then it turns down to the Jinx to really carry it. And that's why we saw her beforehand getting that quadra kill.
And even with that quadra kill on the board, the game is 100% even. Look at the gold lead. Nowhere! And it just feels like Blue Whites has this critical mass of gold accumulated from the CS difference in the mid lane, where this Akali is strong enough to fight back against the onslaught that 4th Wall is bringing in the team fight. Evasive enough to avoid the damage and strong enough to pop anyone that is out of position. And Blue Whites, again, forcing Pipey away from the resources, denying the midway.
Yeah, but it won't really matter too much. Yes, they will get a vision towards the dragon, but I don't expect them to start it up. So the next dragon is up in 3 minutes, so both these teams, they want to go for a side laning threat. This is the time to do so. And Blue Whites, we said that is a team, well, a team comp they could go for, a playstyle they could like, but it seems like they've constantly been going instead. Let's go for these team fights. I think we can outplay it. And my biggest concern is you have your powerhouse of Snowman, got to those 3 items. Yes, he's going to keep getting stronger, but compared to this Jinx, we've already got that Infinity Edge, we've already got that Kraken Slayer, most likely getting more AD items afterwards. This Jinx at some point is going to become nigh unkillable with this shielding and healing from Toxie.
Yeah, and it's going to be a range differential as well, with the Jinx having the rocket launch to play with once she starts to go wild. As Blue White's trying to look for this area, the huge chunk of damage already dealt to Yo. Tough cooldown spread, she'll bring a death right. It won't finish off the kill after being alive. Momo trying to burst the lead is down, but the W regents everything. Blue White's retreat, trying to find safety. The lead is just hopping through the brushes. Victor flashes in with a body slam, found every single member, getting kited back once again by the Lucian Nami. Malux is going in, trying to get Pipey down, but the lead is on a rampage, getting another kill. But now, no more resources left to spend. All the ultimates burned, most of the flashes as well. 4th Wall gets 2 kills, and they want to go for the Baron.
I think they can. Jones is down for 15 seconds. You have to damage the Jinx, you have to damage the deleter. They can absolutely get rid of this, but the teleport's coming through. I don't think Blue Whites wants to give this up.
They definitely don't, and this is 4th Wall's win condition. Their sieging requires this Baron. 5k HP left. Alexa came able to watch, but they just don't want to take the risk and give 4th Wall more gold in case that fight goes haywire. Instead, they choose to defend and look to fight another day over this dragon in a minute. Before you start talking, Eggett has a Serpent's Fang.
Huh?
That's a Serpent's Fang on a Nami.
There's a lack of thoughts in my brain to understand this.
So I guess what you can do, you just need to deal damage to cut the shielding in half, right? Nami is the member in the team that can afford to build it, doesn't have any other power spikes to worry about, and can apply to other people. The Leadus does not care, he wants Moluxa, rooting him up. Again, no more 4th Wall lacking cooldowns, they still want to go in, but the 4th Wall taking a ton of damage. That's a nice one, a double kill off the Supreme Death Rocket, and 4th Wall with the Death Ball, able to pick up 4 kills out of nowhere, triple kill on the Pipey, and with 40-second death timers, this could be the end of the game.
Yes, Normie trying to come back. He needs to clear this way to have any opportunity to stop 4th Wall from ending this, but it might be too little too late, as it's the world against him.
Still, Snorri trying to at least pick up a kill onto Daisy, eventually going to be able to pick that one up because of the way the lead is trying to pad the KDA, as 4th Wall come out with their signature pocket picks to secure game 1.
That was some confidence coming out from their Blue Whites roster, and they clearly deserve it, beating them both times in the regular split, bringing out the Rengar Ivan with the Jinx to boot after they pick up that first kill to just take over. We saw a kill, almost saw a pentakill in that fight, as it feels like Fourth Wall are just on fire today.
Indeed, and technically this is a 3-0 already, if we count the regular season games. But now Blue White has a chance to adapt. They got surprised a little bit here in this game one by the Ivan Rengar. They fought valiantly, showed some good pressure, especially down on the bot side with Snormi and Eggets constantly keeping Pipey down. But once it came to team fights, the tools were just too strong from Fourth Wall.
Yeah, especially this Rengar. I'm not sure if they want to pick it or ban it away. As at one point in that game, that Akali was 3,000 gold up on that Ivan, and I would probably say that Ivan was stronger. Of course, not in the physical sense of dealing more damage, but stronger and more useful towards the team comp. So I think there's definitely some changes I would make on their blue-white side, especially towards this rail pick, most likely. So their bot lane was very strong early on, but it just feels like they don't know how to play around it, especially because they haven't picked it up in the regular season beforehand.
Indeed. But now they know, and as we hit the short break, Blue Whites will have time to figure things out as we wait for game 2. We'll be right back. Go anyway. And welcome back to the NLC Division 2 playoffs, where Fourth Wall, with confidence, bringing out the Ringer Ivan in game one of the first playoff series that they have, take a win over Blue Whites, bringing the record through the season to 3-0.
Yeah. Okay, Carvis, let's chat. Okay. So this Serpent Fang thing, I needed to think about after the cast. I needed to, really deep delve dive to understand what they picked it. Because remember, Serpent's Fang, very good at stopping the healing and shielding. They had the Ivan. And when you and me were talking, you made a very smart idea. Serpent's Fang, yes, isn't amazing on the Nami, but guess what Nami can do? Can E that Lucian, giving Lucian the Serpent's Fang base buffs, meaning that it actually isn't as bad as you think. So I will have to give an apology to the support on the side of Blue Whites, as I do believe we'll be getting in draft in just a second.
I won't be giving an apology. They still lost. Shit idea. Oops, sorry.
Okay, okay, Carvis, calm down, man.
I have been off the caster disc for so long. Give me one. I apologize. I'm sorry, Tim.
Everybody at the back, write that down. Make sure that he's off the cast for next one.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I mean, Carvis, you basically run half of this for most of the time. So I feel like if someone could get away with it, it might be you. As 4-4
I get one.
Whites, yeah, 4-4 and Blue Whites are getting their picks and bans underway. Still on the side of 4-4, we got the Smolder. We also got the Vows as well. We have the Draven, but most curiously, the Ivan hasn't been banned away just yet. Most likely, it's going to be the last ban on the side of Blue Whites or that Ren, guys. I feel like keeping it back up, unless they have a great counter towards it, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I don't think Blue Whites played either, and instead they just abandoned Ringer, thinking that Ivan was the problem. The duo of them was. So Fourth Wall could definitely pick it here if they want to keep playing, but Senna has been left open as well, so they pick that one up. I think Senna is rocking like an 80% win rate in our league, which is insanity.
Yeah, both these AD carries either pick it or ban it. It's most likely 80% to 100% on a few of these teams. It's constantly just, if it's up, you pick it. And that's why that Rengar ban is so important for this team, as because they won that first game, I said it would open up picks and bans. Senna now coming through. We'll have to see if Blue Whites have a different counteraction towards it. Most likely, with that Lucian locked in, it's just going to be an aggressive lane yet again. As we do know, Senna's weak early, very strong late. So if they want to try and find a lead, they need to have more presence down here. And I want to see a tower dive compared to last game, where it always felt like bot lane was winning, but they weren't really playing around it.
It can sometimes be difficult to set up for those when you bring a jungler like the Rel that we saw. While she does clear decently fast, doesn't really have the burst damage early on to go for those aggressive plays, instead providing some important front line. And now Fourth Wall, speaking of front line, that is a very, very scary one to consider.
Remember, Carvis, never get baited by those hovers. That Olaf would be, for me, a little bit early to pick up, because I feel like you need a calm with it that has been banned away, or a way to keep it defensively sound when it wants to go in. A Seraphine aside that people like to play, so you can have something like Senna, Seraphine in the bot lane. Instead, it will be that Nautilus, making sure they are stable and defensive there. And with that lock-in of that jungler, it's going to be very difficult for the enemy team if they try and pick someone else, especially with the depth charge coming out from Nautilus. When they want to try and take someone out of these team fights, they do so, it can look very rough for the side of Blue Walls or Blue Whites.
Blue Walls. This is the combination. When we eventually go into the next season of Division 2, they combine into a super.
I mean, it happens in the LEC, right? You know, you have like Koi Rogue at this point. You have plenty of different situations. So maybe there's the opportunity, because then we can have the Rengar, we can have the Lucian Nami bot lane. Everything can, maybe work out.
Holy, this is some next level stuff. Speaking of next level stuff, Wukong has been showing up a ton recently in our previous set as well, I think, on the NLC stream, and surprisingly strong in both top and jungle. So looking forward to seeing where Blue Whites decides to put this. Instead, they're focusing on the mid lane now, taking away some of Toxic's priority picks. I'd expect to see a Talia ban coming in after this. Anivia would be annoying to play against it with these champions.
Yeah, with Viego and Nautilus, having that first form of CC always means that Flip will come through and we'll be able to burst them in that 2v2 with the Viego. So a very strong pickup that I hope will get banned away as well. We will have that Anivia taken out, as the Lucian Nami do have a dash to try and get out, but instead, banning away that Nico. Scared's more of having her go towards the side lanes, maybe turn into a minion and being a little bit more pesky. But with this Talia open, you'd have to think Blue Wolves are either going to pick it up unless Blue Whites instantly want to do it instead, as both junglers or both mid laners do play the champ.
And still considering the final ban, they are expecting this Wukong to instead hitting both the jungle and the top kindred and Darius banned away. Banning away the Darius, Victor's going to be blind picking something tanky, I'd assume.
Aatrox. Everybody loves Aatrox. Everybody plays Aatrox. You would expect that mostly from both these teams, but I guess I'm wrong. As that Zac is getting locked in. Still that flexibility of the Wukong either going towards top or towards the jungle. Same with the Zac as well. So plenty of possibilities. Now 4-4 will have to decide what they want to play into either a Zac or Wukong. You could go for something that could scale up right next to it, as it won't have massive damage early on. But still, you need to pick up a mid laner. The Talia is still open, but you need someone with a form of CC to help out the Viego and help find that reset, as that's the way Fourth Wall will pick up the victory.
And after locking in the Ari, still considering the final one.
Come on, Carvis, use that big brain. What are you thinking? You know these players more than me.
Are they so boring that they'd go for an Ornn here? I think the Ornn's pretty good though.
Okay, I want more spice. I think they're going to come out with something a little bit more interesting, but we will just have to see. Renekton is a bit more interesting. Ornn could happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like we take Renekton. It has the form of CC, has most importantly a way to try and burst someone through with that Viego to find that reset. Now Blue White has that last pick. They know mostly that they need to pick up a mid laner unless they have some tech where they put Wukong towards the mid lane. But I don't think that's going to happen. Against an Ari, there are plenty of different options to go into it. Somebody who does have dashes around could help. Annie is a good option into it. I do like this pick. You can just put Tibbers on their head, get Prio in lane, or later into the game, Ari tries to dash in and try and dash out. She won't have a chance as you chuck that Tibbers and they're just instantly dead with that CC.
Yeah, this also does deal with the very squishy lineup of Fourth Wall in Ari, Viego, and Senna, all just going to burn to death if they misstep in a team
Yep.
fight. So it does work out. Also, there's Renekton lock-in. I'm still kind of stuck on this. You see both Wukong and Zac, and you go for the Renekton out of all things. As far as I'm aware, both of these picks do quite well into the Crocodile.
Well, yes, they do quite well, both in the laning phase and out of it. Because what does this Rengar want to do? They want to get either onto the NA, onto one of the bot laners. But how are they meant to do that when you have the Zac and the Wukong to have so much CC to stop you getting on? So it all really comes down to, I think, either the Ari or the dredge line from the Nautilus to find these engages and get onto the back line. But my biggest concern is if they do that, is the center going to be safe enough? Because that can either play defensive with the team or just jump onto this backline, because once they take out this center, the damage rapidly drops off unless Viego can find that first kill.
And it's going to be we're going to get to see the unique strength of some of these champions on Blue White's roster playing into Fourth Wall's team composition. Something that Wukong and Zac both do is while they are able to provide the initial engage, they are extremely good at weaving back into a peeling position, with their ultimates being able to peel away a ton of the damage flying at the Lucian. Wukong goes in with a Cyclone, decoys away back into the back line, playing this back and forth game while providing the peeling Cyclone after already engaging. Zac does the same, hops in, ults away, constantly knocking back anyone who dares to dive his back line.
It's those special type champions where they can come from random angles you never expect. Zac over a wall compared to others can still find that engage from so far away. So if they find a flank, find a way onto that center, Blue White's in a really good position as both these teams have gone for a little bit of a different look. You got that Rengar Ivan. Now they're still going for that big team fighting compass. I feel like this one, instead of one of the teams trying to spread out, both teams will be trying to scale up, will be trying to stack, but most importantly, we'll try and get down and dirty and get this game into a position where they can just keep scrapping each other.
And yeah, this is going to be a scrappy one. The first one, at the first couple of 6-9 levels, very quiet. But as we head into game 2, oh, never mind.
Oh,
Never mind. The Division 2 pause strikes again.
I think I've seen technical pause before, Carvis. Not just once today, not just twice. I think 3 times already. Small indie companies, the usual. But hopefully we'll get sorted pretty soon for you. But it just gives us more time to talk about us, talk about the game, and talk about whatever you want.
I think the most used sentence I've said in casting throughout the many years that I've done this is ISPs can be a fickle beast. Whenever there is a technical pause, it's usually the fault of top lag, mid lag, I'm laggy, please send help.
Well, Carvis, do you know what me and my friends used to do when we used to play competitively together? Whenever somebody had a disconnection or had to go grab the pizza or maybe had to go toilet, we always just said, a cat accidentally jumped out a window. Because, of course, that would hurt somebody like, seriously, your cat jumped out the window? But it was never true. So we were able to, hold it off for 10, 15 minutes, especially when I used to play back in university, when I had those opportunities, to have a little bit more fun and not have to take it as seriously as the players here.
I think the best story that I've ever heard is League of Legends team scrimming, and I think it was the jungler who was playing the countryside, living there, and he was playing like at an actual farm, and they had to pause their scrim block because a sheep escaped the pasture, and he had to go bring it back.
Okay, I have a story very similar to that. So for everybody who didn't know, Carvis was actually meant to be on production today, but we got a few things sorted out to have him with us. The other guy, Sandbag, was actually meant to be here. Having a sheep outside his window, the internet being so rough, is the reason Carvis is here today. It's all about the sheep.
It is. Damn sheep. Why do they do this to us? But they aren't in this game. We only have a monkey and a crocodile. Can we count Nami in here? It is a fish.
It could be like a zoo. We could have. Oh, that'd be so cool. Imagine one of these team calls, instead of playing, proper League of Legends, they just play for the zoo, Jones, using the flash to get out here, and is going to have to be a little bit more careful now, going to stop a lot of his damage early on, as we will see that Zac up towards the top side. Yon will be playing that Wukong in towards the jungle, as I do believe it is a good matchup into the Deletus, especially later on, because the Deleter wants to try and stack up that W, make it try and stun the enemy for as long as possible, but of course, with the Cyclone, with the W to jump out, there's plenty of outplay opportunities for this Wukong.
Yeah. This flash burn, though, this opens up a possibility of an invade for fourth wall. I'm not really sure how they're gonna execute it, since the junglers are matching each other. And Lucian Nami, well, we already saw once what happens in this lane. Usually it's the Lucian Nami taking early priority, but can you go for an invade on this?
I think you can. Towards the top side. You can't do it bot lane. You know your bot lane is going to get pushed in. If you want to do it, you have to do it early on, because Annie still needs quite a while to stack up. Ari should be able to move first in that lane. Renekton versus Zac, yes, it's going to be more Zac favored, but Renekton has better upfront damage. So if you get him to move, it could be pretty good as bot lane. Good damage.
Fourth wall, first one to move. Get the hook onto Snormi, but a ton of damage traded back by Ekid. Gets a W, full trade combo off, and Fabio, without the aftershock, won't be able to engage again until it's back. So level 2 priority for Blue Whites. They are just ready to set up for the third wave crash, pretty much denying the invade plan from Deletus.
Yeah, both teams are quite happy to go for these aggressive trades, especially fourth wall down towards the bot side. The healing up, same with what the Nami can do, but most importantly, Piper gets more stacks in this early game, allowing him to scale up to become the hyper carry they need. And same in the top lane, Sir Victor versus Veloxa, both members having a lot of healing, identity into their kits, and maybe some healing reduction early on for both of these teams could be very useful in these fights.
Should be coming in for the Renekton at some point. It's just a question of when does he have an opportunity to get the Executioner's Calling without reducing his own damage potential, so he starts losing the trades to Bollox's W base max HP damage.
I think you just lose that anyway, no matter if you have healing or healing reduction. They will still heal more than you. It will still deal more damage than you, and that's the reason why we see Zach up towards the top lane so much. And some really good hooks coming up from Fabio. Good damage coming back, but still, pretty good trade for fourth wall. The stacking really coming alive for Pipey early on in this game.
10 stacks already. Again, this is the farming center, so the stacking will be a little bit slower than usual. But if they can get the mana out of Snormi and Eggets, as they have with these trades, they are able to play a lot more aggressive. They can get some more farm onto the center and not have to worry about dying all of a sudden.
Yeah, and this is what I find really funny about this center lane. It's just so defensively sound. And that's why teams love picking it up, because yes, you won't win lane the normal way of being able to take the enemy tower. But you know, the longer you go on, the stronger you will be, meaning that it more neutralizes everything Snormi and Eggets want to do. So we'll see Eggets trying to hold this wave here, trying to get themselves in a good position, but Fabio is instantly able to stop this. So in a great position is there is going to be a 500 gold lead over towards the side of fourth wall. And when I'm taking a look at where it is, how do they have a 500 gold lead?
It's mostly on separate. It's what?
Oh, okay. So
No.
what I think happened was up towards the top side, I saw it said 500. It's like 6.8 versus like 7.2, and then some magically
Okay.
it got 500 gold more. Blame Riot, not me, okay? I swear I didn't do
Yeah.
anything wrong. As we do see the Dragon and the Rift Scut this morning in just a second. Good to see what both of the teams want to prioritize. I do expect both of them to be more likely to actually go towards the Dragon instead. So there is a roam opportunity for Fabio with his bot lane being defensively sound to look towards the mid lane. Maybe they can help push this out and look for the Dragon afterwards.
They find Jonas in the brush, however, getting stunned up. The leaders is there to follow this play, and Charm hits Jonas, taking down the ignite, tries to flash out, but again, first blood goes over to Toxie.
Yeah, everything I said about just worked out for them, even though we had Jones there already waiting. The amount of damage and CC coming out from fourth wall allows them to pick up this first dragon without contention and finally get themselves that 500 gold lead I was talking about beforehand. First kill going over towards that Arius. I actually think that's a member you're pretty happy having it come on, as they will be able to pick up those boots already, get pretty close to that lost chapter as well, meaning that they can constantly push this out, given that roaming opportunity to help out their bot lane.
Absolutely. With Toxic getting the first kill, the kill threat from Bomber also goes down quite a ton. XP, so important to match with Annie, so she never gets the base stat advantage over you, so you just die to the full burst of Tibbers landing on. And even with the Kong following it up, Ari slippery enough that she may be able to escape with Spirit Rush plus Flash. So this just means fourth wall can go for these objectives and trust that they don't get punished on the rest of the map.
Yeah, completely correct. You said this Renekton pick isn't the best into the enemy team. It's constantly giving their prio, constantly getting themselves in the position where they can get him to move first. That means that both Dragon goes over to the kill on the mid lane, and now they get themselves to Void Grubs as well. This Wukong not having the best after game, as he's had to give up all of this, already 5 CS down. And Ari, one thing I want to talk about as well, got a Dark Seal. Somebody I feel like is playing with confidence in this series.
Not surprising. Toxie has been the shining star of this team, in my opinion. Sure, you have Pipey putting out quarter kills, but Toxie is the silent performer, playing these sometimes unorthodox picks like the Anivia, but most of the time on some sort of utility, maybe an assassin every now and then, but putting out a nice performance every single game. And I'll give him the opportunity to go for a Dark Seal. This could be his pop-off game for today.
Yeah, exactly. He's played on many different teams since 2019, starting on Fobtrox, going to places like Lynx, and then finally joining fourth wall this season. Really being one of his breakout times, as he does play the weird stuff like Ivan. And when you say a silent carry, that's the best way to describe him, as this is going to have a lot of playmaking on the Ari, but still, it's there to help his junglers shine it. It's there to help Pipey be able to scale up and get to the position to be able to carry.
And after an Ivern game, I'd definitely be building Dark Seal afterwards when I get to play an actual mid laner.
You gotta make up for it, because now you actually deal damage. You're like, I need to deal all the damage, clearly.
Still, no damage being dealt on the rest of the map, with Bollocks just healing up with the blobs. It's missing HP healing, so even if it looks dangerous for the Zac, you have the passive, you have the blobs eventually from your ultimate, gives a ton of them. And Victor just doesn't have the kill pressure, he just holds priority and tries his best to force Bollocks to make a mistake or calling his jungler there, as the rest of the team tries to set up on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, going for a hook down towards bot lane isn't going to work, but just making sure that they can push this out, they're in a pretty safe position. I really like the Toxie actually from the mid lane after pushing it comes down as well, making sure that he has that first move, still have that teleport available to get back afterwards. So small plays like this are really giving the advantage over the fourth wall. As you just see, Fabius can constantly just look for hooks in, knowing that he has the healing from Senna and the E to get out to safety.
And Snormi not going for the SS Reaver, instead opting for the static shift for additional wave clear. This will be just... Oh, whoa, Victor! Hold up, the man's feeling confident, almost dies to the tower, but gets the passive out of Bollocks, so now the kill threat is actually there.
The big thing is, I actually think that's good for Blue Whites, because for Loxin now can push out this wave, can reset as well, doesn't have that teleport available. But still, I think it's actually pretty good because he didn't have to use the flash himself. As the way I like to describe having someone like a Zac top is a bit like playing against a jungler of Warwick, where you need to burst them out at their last little bit of HP, otherwise they are just going to heal up and become unkillable.
Well, Snormi's not unkillable, already forced to flash away. Toxie's roam with the Spirit Rush, easily able to force the burn of those summoners as Jones look over the wall, tries to look for a trade, and noticing there's no Spirit Rush on him, and so the flash burns as well. Pomo just needs to get a little bit closer to secure the kill, instead turns it onto the leaders, not respecting the any damage, and 2 quick kills go over to Blue White.
Yeah, Jones showing how powerful Wukong can be in these isolated fights, and he finishing off both of those kills. And now it's going from everything being Blue White's favorite or fourth wall favorite to completely the opposite spot lane. Good hurt.
Nautilus wants to set up some sushi for Pipey. They're taking the mini wave though, so instead take the win on the summoners and defuse from there. With Lucian having no mana once again, fourth wall just feeling so confident to take these fights and prepare the dragon afterwards.
Yeah, Dragon will be going over to the side of fourth wall again. The victory down there. Flash was a little bit too much, I think, from Pipey. He probably could have held on to that, but does it matter? Second Dragon going over towards them, as yes, they were losing out in one of those fights, but they've got themselves right back onto the map and got themselves right back to being confident, as the only member on the side of Blue White that is strong is going to be the Sion, whose first item completed.
Interesting situation though at the Grubs. Even the Grubs don't really know where to go. Trying to look for the Renekton way outside of the pit. But Fabio and Delete is rotating over. They will try and secure the rest of the 2. Already having gotten themselves 3, they do get a couple of additional mites to push with if they are able to get these down fast enough, and Blue White's not contesting, so should be easy pickings.
Yeah, Pipey having to wait for his support, who I'm guessing got chunked out in that last fight, means when we look at these towers, you may think that the Void Grubs were on the side of Blue White, as 4 of these tower plates already over to Snormi and Egert, and even though they don't have an assist onto their support, they are still going to be an elite gold wise just from these tower plates, as fourth wall haven't even been able to pick up 1 in this bot lane.
And this is what you kind of give up when you play Senna Nautilus. You won't have the push without some assistance. Sure, Toxie and Deletus did try earlier to secure a kill on the Snormi, but it just doesn't bear fruit, and they give a ton of gold over. However, we already saw this once with the Jinx lane, and it didn't pay off in the end. Once the game gets into the later stages, Pipey turns into the beast he's known to be, and destroys in the team fights. Blue Whites, though, with the different build, can try to do something different.
100%. Going for that static shift burst item, going for more of a crit build, making sure that they can constantly push out this wave and have that pressure that it feels like Blue Whites need. Because when they get into these big team fights later on, compared to the build Snormi had last game, he is going to be dealing more damage later on than before.
Fabio, yeah, trying to sneak around, looking for any stragglers, but Blue White's perfectly ready for it. Again, Voluxa underneath the tower doesn't have the passive this time, so needs to be a bit more careful. Dominus gives so much extra HP on the second rank that has been just hit by Vector. Highest level in the game along with Bomber. So if Jones doesn't start moving top lane fast, there is a threat of a dive.
Yeah, there definitely could be a drive threat, but still with a Renekton and with a Zac, it's very difficult. We see the 4 members coming through here. Toxie having that first move. He's going to get spoiled out of war.
Hook onto Snormi is all that they need to secure 1 kill, and it gets right after clean dive, but teleports behind them. They're getting collapsed on. The lead is in the jungle, getting caught out, and Annie already deleting the support. Ari's gone as well, and Blue White out of nowhere turned the entire play around.
Yeah, Pomo with a triple kill. Sir Victor not having to teleport up for 5 seconds means their 4th walls can get collapsed on, and there's nothing he can do about it. So the play looked good, but in the end, it all comes up Blue Whites. They will be able to finish off that bot lane tower that Snormi and Eatguess did so much to stop. And Sir Victor trying to do something by himself might need to be careful as Eatguess is here with Snormi.
It gets lands the bubble, and yeah, okay, this Crocodile is in big trouble. Burning Flash. Snormi wants to get the kill, flashes forward, but Jones right there to cut him off, and the objective conveniently up as well. Starting it up right away as 4th wall most likely not able to contest.
Shadow Flame Malignant and boots completed by this Annie. If you were talking about one-shotting, there we go. Carvis, this feels like a prime pick for you to pick up in your finish league. It does everything you need.
Is this Flame? Are you telling me to play Annie?
Yes, I am. I mean, after that Malphite game, can you blame me?
Feels bad, man. Even the non-Finnish people are blaming me for this. Anyway, Shadow Flame. One of the items that these dot champions love. Like, have you seen Teemo with a Shadow Flame? It's disgusting.
I don't want to see Teemo in my games no matter what, so why would I know about it having Shadow Flame?
Teemo's surprisingly strong with Shadow Flame. Anything with a dot, basically. The reason is, if your dots start to crit, the DPS is insane, and Annie can easily chunk you down to below 25% HP, and from there on, Tibbers handles the rest.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see if Tibbers can do some one-shot in this game. Remember, Pipey Toxie deletes us. Definite possibilities for Annie to do that. While we see Blue Whites actually doing a really good job of roaming around this map, as they put people towards the top side of Pomo. Okay, I'm scared. The Shadow Flame's available. Real-tailed Wiz going to get used in the mid lane, trying to get to the last tower.
Oh, they found Zac. Voluxa does have his passive up. Might be not joining the fight just yet, and not even getting the passive proc from Voluxa before the leaders falls. Pipey in the mid lane also losing his life to the Wukong. And what? I don't know how exactly the Nautilus died there, but Bobo does secure the kill, and Blue Whites win another team fight.
I feel like this series has just been like, how have they got there? How have they found that kill? But of course, Pomo picking up that double kill and now picking up another mid lane tower. Snormi, even having 0 kills to their name, picked up bot, picked up mid and top lane, and the second one in mid lane, and the dragon. Blue Whites are looking in a very advantageous position as now have a 3,500 gold lead. 3 dragons towards their main. They are just eating good here.
This feels like the entire dance. First blood has been negated by the dragon Blue Whites. And they tried to go for the dragon. Toxie proving me wrong almost. Yeah, well, they eventually kill and shut down Jones, but the dragon did go over to Blue Whites. And this is kind of what Fault War needed to do earlier. Find these picks with these collapses. They have a ton of individual bursts with the Nautilus and Renekton if they can find the target. Since Blue Whites are so good at finding the turnaround play, utilizing the teleport, utilizing the Annie to perfection, they have accumulated a nice 2k gold lead, and Bommel at the prime position to carry this game on a utility champion.
Yeah, Blue White's not having the tempo to take the mid lane tower and get Dragon as well allows the side of fourth wall to get themselves a kill and get themselves the mid lane tower. As I want to give a massive good job to Pomo, hiding towards that second tier tower, making sure that he doesn't get taken out with that as well. And fourth wall have plenty of wards behind the enemy team. They have teleport and Foxy, so they want to go for a play. There's definitely a capability here, but they still need to be careful as they will get caught out.
It's just the fear of the Annie already gets a summoner spell burnt bomb. Just so scary, and the leader wants to try to pick up the kill, even dodges the stun from the Annie, but the damage just isn't enough. Snormi survives, and Bomo is gone.
That healing for E-Gets allows them to survive. It feels exactly like last game where Ivan made sure that somebody didn't die by a sliver of HP. So Blue White's very happy that it finally happened to them. As this Annie, you can see the power of it. Anytime it walks into your face in range of that image, you either have to flash out or you will be going to that great screen. Fortunately though, for fourth wall, they're not going to lose anything massive. There's no major objective, but Baron wasn't available, because if it was, that would have been Blue White's.
Still a good 40 seconds to go, but the power spike of the third item. I was expecting a Rabadon just for more full-on annihilation mode, trying to one-shot the enemy team, but instead, we're not really sure. What does that go into? I'm trying to think. What does Needless Large Rod build into nowadays? I'm way too old for this.
I mean, I'm way too old myself, and I'm only 20 years old. I've played the game for too long as bit. Just be careful here. Oh, choose.
Death charge landing onto Snormi, and big cooldown now off the table in regards to finding engages. Has to cleanse the charm though, as Fabio almost hitting the dredge line. Baron's up though, and with a ton of cooldowns burned on the side of fourth wall, otherwise should be fairly confident in just starting this up in the near future.
Exactly. Toxie and Fabius don't have bots available, don't have flashes either. So I feel like Blue Eyes, just start this up. Get the enemy team to fight you. You have the objective advantage. And most importantly, they have to walk into that Annie. 7-0, 2.5 items. They just need to be scared. Just flash it.
That has to flash, and Fabio and Pipey are gone off the rift in the gray screen. 2 kills quickly picked up, and now it's time for the Baron. Sure, Deletus is still up, but they should be more than capable to push the Viego away from any possible steal angle. Timbers, you want to be DPSing the Baron, don't you? Okay, apparently not, as Deletus gets stunned up, and they just turn it around right onto the new jungler Toxie as well, trying to buy time. They need to get these kills as fast as possible, as Pipey and Fabio already respawning, just running for dear life. Channel finally gets interrupted. Even the Senna ult used. They found Snormi. Hold up, Toxie and Victor. The duo finally pick up 2 kills. And the play from fourth wall suddenly all their advantage, shutting down Bombo as well. Victor with 1,000 gold. What just happened? Fourth wall. Did they mind control Blue Whites or something?
It wasn't mind control, it was just really well played. Deletus, even though it looked like he was just trying to hold out on time, he actually was able to stop them for so long. Allows her Victor to teleport in a 2v1 against Stormy and Eges. Remember, no flash available for either of them at that point of time. Able to pick up that kill, help from Pipey as well. And then Toxie turns around to turn that fight. And then they find the pickup onto Annie with that 1,000 shutdown onto Toxie, allowing him to finish that Eclipse, has that status gauge, and now is super tanky in these fights, as everything with Blue Whites has now shifted yet again to be completely even between both of these teams.
It just feels like there was some it was some horrible miscoordination there from Blue White, as they again get collapsed on. Higgins is gone. Fabio in the back line seizing up the carries. Pomo doesn't burn the timbers just yet, bringing 2 kills back, and they're looking for the back line. Jones bringing Pipey so low. They have only gotten the passive out of Volux as they kite back to finally finish off the monkey. But 2 kills traded for 2. Junglers both gone off the rift, and fourth wall still feeling confident in trying to prevent Blue Whites from securing the second dragon. Instead, pointing their attention towards mid lane. Keep up the pressure.
Yeah, they need to find a charm, need to find a way in, try one-shot Poma or Snormy. They want to try and take this dragon away from them and get themselves onto Soul Point. But Blue Whites, very luckily, they only engaged into Eget, allowing Poma and Snormy to basically open fire in that fight, and that's the only reason it was so close, even though Poma wasn't at the start of this. The fourth wall, having their support come up earlier, same with their mid laner, it will allow them to be able to pick up this jungle and get themselves over the Soul Point with the smite and the legions. It's all but secure.
And the Soul Point, getting the Mountain Soul would be incredibly nice for preventing Annie from one-tapping half of your team. So important for the eventual turnaround. You have a sustain on the Renekton, on the Senna. Even Ahri, if you can get a couple of kills, the passive heals a surprising amount once you have some AP with Crypt Bloom as well. And they are in prime position to start turning this game around if they can get a couple more picks just like this. And he's gone! Another shutdown onto the lead as Baron is up and Blue White just lost the majority gold user on their team. Even the jungler made fall as Yone separated from his team. Dies, and now the Baron is on the table. Blue White trying to look for the miracle play calling. He takes a nice chunk out of Victor with a flash forward. Boluxa, no passive, dies. Fourth wall, they don't even have to reset the Baron. They got the free kill and they get the free objective.
Remember, this game's going to get harder and harder. Pipey has been scaling up this whole time. Should be pretty close to those 80 stacks with the Baron to boot. They could really turn this game around as Blue White's trying to smartly push out this mid lane. I mean, it's going to take them even longer to get this Baron up. But Pomo, big mistake thinking that he was alone there, not having the enemy team spotting him out. But instantly getting CC'd down and blown up means the Blue Whites lose the Baron. And they're now in a really bad position.
It's incredibly tough to come back if they lose the soul in 3 minutes time. We've already talked about how well Senna scales, how well Ahri and Viego do in the later stages of the game as well, but as we can see here, Snormi on the Lucian, not on a late game carry, and he's feeling it.
I don't even think that was about being on the late game carry, it's just Ahri.
Well, that's true, but Yones though, that's, what is going on? Every single member of Blue One's just running in one by one. They die, and Fourth Wall says thank you for the freaking gold. They just get it. Fourth Wall is punishing the positioning so well, and Blue White seems to be falling apart.
It feels like Ahri, before that play even happened, before the charm even hit, it was already on them. It felt like they just constantly just kept walking in, and with the CC on 4-4 and this Baron available, they should be able to get so much of this as top tower falls, get all 4 members except for your top laner down towards bot lane, be able to pick up even more gold and keep pushing this lead. 5,000 ready to their name, and this Annie that was so strong, being 8-0 at one point, is only 9-2. Because with that Zhonya's, yes, they can stay defensively sound, but can just not do anything. Whenever she walks in, there's a charm, there's a stomp and deleter, stomp and Zervictor, an ultimate for Babiot. It's so difficult to play these fights, especially when Snormy, who has been an early game threat, is now coming to a point where they are getting outscaled by the Senna with those 3 items.
It feels like Fourth Wall throughout Division 2 has been the rogue of this division. You hit 25 or 26 minutes in the game. Oh, guys, it's time to win some team fights. And they start performing out of their minds when it comes to macro and overall team fighting. And now with Pipey reaching the 3 items, as you said, the Senna's starting to scale out of control for Blue Whites. The range so difficult to play against, and the rest of the team are starting to get tanky enough to not get one-tapped by the enemy.
And talking about tankiness, you have 2.5 members as well. Careful.
Forcing the ult from Deletus, not too big of a cooldown this late into the game. Should be perfectly fine without it, as long as the rest of the team deal with the killing part of the combination. He just needs to get the reset. And they're just able to siege up Blue Eyes. They don't have enough wave clear. Annie cannot use any abilities. She's not hard engaging. Volxa, the target for Ball. Well, they've caught the Annie once again. Can't even use the Zonia. Volxa has to retreat. And Jones now trying to peel for the back line. But here comes the leaders. Here comes the rest of Fourth Wall. It's another quadra kill. It is damn close. But doesn't matter. They still secure Game 2 going on to match point.
It was just a switch in their head just flicked, and they're like, we need to win now, let's do it, as Forful will be able to pick up their second win, and like you said, get themselves one win away from the higher end of this playoffs.
I don't know what happened. I actually don't know what happened. Because 1 second, Blue Whites were playing incredibly well. That Annie that we joked so much about, super useful, super powerful, was doing everything you wanted out of a mid laner. But then something happened. One pick happened into another. Got a Baron. Another pick. Get yourself a dragon. Another pick. Okay. Got them onto their base. Pick up another Baron. And it was just pick after pick after pick. And it felt like Blue Whites, after the first thing went through, they couldn't stop the snowball. They couldn't stop the onslaught from Fourth Wall. So then they were able to pick up the victory. But Blue Whites, I still have confidence that they can do something. I don't think it's going to be a 3-0. I think they can at least pick up a game, because the start for their games are amazing. They just need to try and push this through. And remember, in the regular split, lost both times against Fourth Wall. And it was kind of the same story. Do great early, have issues late. So maybe changing their AD carry to like more late game, maybe helps them out.
Yeah, something has to change, clearly, because now you're basically
Kick the Rengar
4-0
either.
down.
Understood.
But yeah, as you said, you hit the nail on the head. I think it's going to be the AD carry where they change things up. Probably going to see Stormy on some sort of hyper carry going into the next game. And I don't know, it just feels like something snapped after the initial misplay at Baron, where they overchased the leaders on the top side, leaving their carries alone, and they found the picks with Toxie and Victor. From there on out, even with the Zonia on Bommel, he died 4 times in a row without using the Zonia once.
How would you meant to when you get CC'd by everyone, not just one member? I genuinely think it was only the AD carry that didn't have a form of CC on the side of Fourth Wall. So of course he couldn't play the game.
Send a W.
Okay, yeah, but like Center W doesn't stop you from ulting. I'm talking about abilities that stop you from pressing your R button. As everybody jokes around that Annie's a champion that's really hard to deal with, as you need to come into a range. But if you never get in a range unless you have a CC, she looked like a useless champion.
Yeah, and well, while it initially didn't work out, Blue White's back to the drawing board. We'll take a short break as we let the players figure out what to do when we head into Game 3. And we are back in the playoffs. Game 3 is approaching us as Fort Wall getting a good 2-0 lead over Blue White, still undefeated this season against them. And looking quite confident even after having the Rengar removed from them. They just switched the game plan, put Pipey onto a non-hyper carry. What? I can't believe it either. And they still cleanly close out the game after a rough start.
Yep, you're completely correct about that, Carlos. Now, as a Blue Whites person, I watch them, I enjoy their gameplay most of the time. When your coach tells you, that was rough, not sure how you feel coming into third game. As remember, Blue Whites only one away from going into the lower brackets and putting fourth wall against Rich Gang in the upper. Maybe this is their idea. We know Rich Gang is most likely to win this all first in the regular split. Maybe if they lose here, they will have to avoid them until they get to the finals. Maybe it's the Giga Brain play.
The bracket manipulation coming in clutch. Holy, this is some Galaxy Brain stuff coming from everyone. I still think that they'd love to bring in the reverse sweep, and it wouldn't be the first one we've seen in our playoffs bracket, as we already had one, Rich Gang. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, after they lost game 2, Fruity Fresh posted on Twitter the comms as they were losing, where he said, "Don't worry, guys, we reverse sweep for content."
Yeah. Do you know what I actually say whenever I play Valorant? Whenever we're on attacking side and we go defensive next, I'm like, we're more defensive sided anyway, and I always swap and reverse here. It's like it's just building, team character, so we can have that reverse sweep. And if there's a team to do it, and it isn't Ruser Esports, it would be Blue Whites, as they are in a good position, are getting a lot of priority down towards the spot side. But still, I want change. I want things a little bit more spicy, a little bit more exciting, because yes, this lead's just been strong early on, but if I'm being honest, later the game goes, the less it's really given to the team, especially against that Senna, where yes, it was weak early, but I felt was an absolute powerhouse.
Yeah. And again, we've seen these teams multiple times, and their pockets go deep. They can bring out even weirder stuff if they so wish that. They can change their game plan at a moment's notice, and we get to see how this game 3 draft starts to play out. Things like Bollux's Yorick counterpick are still available.
Yep, a lot of these champions and a lot of these players have specific champions that they are so good at, as we will be getting ourselves over to the banning phase. I'm excited to see what they actually want to come and get for, because remember, if they go for a champion like Ban and Rengar, the center will be open again, and I felt like that center, yes, I still don't want it picked and banned, so it's very difficult from the side of Blue Whites on what they want to pick and ban. Compared to fourth wall, 1-2 games, keep it the exact same, get away that Karma, get away, most importantly, that Smolder. So if you do get that center first pick, it gives you a lot of options.
I'm honestly a little bit surprised that Fourth Wall doesn't play the Smolder themselves, considering their play style. But
They've never played Smolder.
They never played Smolder, even though they are like the team that loves to play into the mid and late game. But they never play it.
I mean, it is constantly picked or banned, so you can't blame them too much. Maybe they've had more priority on the center, as that is their second most played, except for the Ophelia. So we said about hyper carries for the side of Blue Wall, or sorry, on Blue Whites. That is going to be the possibility. However, first pick for 4-4, what do they want to have? The center's open as they had to ban the Rengar. I see no reason to pick it up, as it is going to get instantly locked in. Now, Blue Whites, please pick site scaling. That's what I want from you. I don't want some Lucian Army, because it just hasn't been doing it as much as it wants to. If you are going to go down that route, pick site like a J Forbes. We need tower dives early on to really make this comp work.
Something like a Jinx Nautilus I'd love to see here. Whoa!
Zyra Khan?
Zyra Khan?
Okay. I like it. Zai strong into the late game, still has that early game power spike that they need. They want to play like that. Of course, Zyra Khan hasn't been that strong in the meta, does fine into the center early on, but we're going to have to see how they want to build around it. Still, their jungler is going to be available. I'd love for their AD carry, their support, and their jungler to get picked on that first rotation, so they can really secure a strong bot side.
But doesn't this just give Fourth Wall Nautilus to counter the Rakan instantly? Even the Maokai would do the same thing as Nautilus, being able to interrupt the Grand Entrance. And there's one thing that Xayah really struggles with, and that's playing against range. And that's what Senna offers, even able to pick away the J4 that you just
It's
mentioned.
so good.
It's super good into the Saya as well. But okay, they lock in the Maokai, but this could be a Maokai support, and they just go for the J4 in the jungle as well. There's so
Yeah.
many angles for them.
Yeah, so many angles. I do actually see that Fluxa isn't the best Maokai player in top lane. Maybe, but haven't seen it yet. And Nivea, okay.
Blind?
4-4,
Would you blind
maybe.
this? They do blind it.
Okay.
Oh,
Now this is actually very interesting because now blue whites have two options. One, pick a mid laner to counter the Anivia, but leave your bot laner a bit stranded because they could ban away junglers. I mean, they're not going to have an early aggressive game unless they pick their jungler now, but that means that Anivia can ban away a lot of the counters towards it and put in a lot of an advantageous position because you know more than me about how strong this Anivia can be.
yeah, they do secure the job in fold. So they, again, with Senna and Nivea there, they kind of struggle if they ever get locked into a Cataclysm. The thing is, if the Cataclysm is badly positioned, suddenly it may turn against Blue Eyes with the is it Glacial Storm? What is Nivea Ultimate even? It's like yeah, I think it's Glacial Storm. I think I got it correct. I was doubting.
Sounds right. It sounds right. If I think of a Nivea Ultimate Glacial Storm, yeah, sounds about perfect. As blue whites will be banning away on their second phase. Remember, there's a jungler still not available for fourth wall, so ban them away. Taking the Viego, really smart because of Nivea Q with the Glacial Storm that you talked about. Had enough damage to find that reset, and we saw how powerful it was in that last game when it was paired up with the Ari. Corki getting banned away. Remember, blue whites hasn't banned away any of the mid laners, so we do have the little Corki plushie with us here. One interesting thing I've noticed is none of these two teams have been playing Azir. Is it still picked or banned?
Azir, I think, might be disabled. I'm not 100% sure of that. But I'm pretty sure on the.
It must be because everybody plays Azir. I have very high doubts that Azir would have been picked if it was available. It's most likely banned away, like you said. Kindred as well. Do either of these people play Kindred? Do you know?
Jones plays Kindred 100%. I think the leaders has played it in the regular season as well. So both of these players are actually playing the champion. But makes sense against Senna and Nivea. They do need some additional AD damage somewhere. So anyway, the Darius forcing Blue West reveal, most likely the mid laner. I'd expect to see something like an Ari here. Oh, whoa, okay.
Oh,
The Finland
okay.
special. Apparently, Fruity Fresh is not the only one who plays this.
Maybe he's quickly just run over in the first two games to get onto that PC to allow him to play the Aurelion Soul. But no, Aurelion Soul getting locked in is going to be either towards the mid or towards the top side, as that Poppy lock-in is... It's just gross. It's absolutely disgusting and should 100% be locked in. The reason is Rakan has dashes, J4 has dashes, and now Poppy just said you can't engage into us, allowing that Anivia, allowing that Senna to stay completely safe in their laning phase because Poppy can, you know, counter gank it and later on just stand in front of him with that steadfast presence. There's nothing you can do. So I feel like fourth wall so far just completely dominating in this draft. Now, they have to have their last pick. Do they want to put this Maokai towards the top side?
We see the special from the. Okay, so it's Poppy top, and this is Kiana jungle from Dylan.
Okay, I like it slightly less because I felt like Poppy jungle against that J4 is fine as a matchup, but most importantly, it has that Stefan presence. And now that the Kiana has come in, yes, it gives extra damage, but it gives less safety to the team as Poppy only has the benefit of teleporting into those fights. As we have to see what the last pick is, most likely just going to be a tank trying to scare you, Carvis, with that top lane. But instead, it's just going to be that Honors. Both teams. Interesting, to say the least.
If I saw a ribbon be locked into the Poppy, I would have lost my absolute mind. That would have been such a self-counter pick, I don't think I would have recovered in time to cast the game.
Okay. Where do we even start? That's the question to have because we have a Kiana, we have an Anivia, two champions that you've talked about being a really special to do these to both of these players, and because you know more than me, tell me about them.
So Anivia has been the toxic special in Division 2. And it's one of these control mages that nobody really talks about nor plays because she's surprisingly difficult. Champions was made like in 2008 or something, and it's still one of the more difficult champions to efficiently pilot. But when you get a confident Nivea player, the control that she provides is incredible in the later stages of the game. She's surprisingly strong early on in the lane against champions that have a hard time avoiding the Q. And I think Aurelia may fall prey, at least in the early stages of the game, doing a little bit better in the later ones. And not only that, paired up with a mad lad jungler like Deletus, the Kiana can actually ult a Nivea. So this is a pre-made combo that Fourth Wall has clearly practiced. These two not only play Iron Ringer, but they've blabbed out so much more.
That's okay. Now I'm seeing it. Now I'm imagining it. Okay. We're in a beautiful game of League of Legends, right? We have an Aesar in the mid lane. Of course, we can't say Zai because she has ultimate. They go straight in. A Nivea wall. Ultimate from Kiana on top. And you could just imagine the amount of damage they can deal. But that has to be at level 6 as we will be getting ourselves right into this game.
Yeah, we don't have to imagine it any longer. We are ready for game 3. Blue Whites, it's do or die as Fourth Wall up 2 games to 0. And with the Finland special, we didn't even touch on the Aurelian Saw. Can Bo perform as well as the Calliope himself? Yet to see.
Out of every single league, this is the only one where we could have ASO in 2 different series with 2 different players picking it up. So we will have to see how they want to perform on this, as Fourth Wall will be moving to the enemy jungle. Most likely not going to be able to pick up anything here. But will place a ward in towards the enemy jungle to spot out where they're going to start. Deletus wants to try and farm up till that level 6 mark. Does have some form of CC, but it's mostly about trying to get to a position where you have enough lethality to burst them out.
So close to getting the Q hit on the board as well. Getting that final hit would have been so clutch for Pipey, but now they have to deal with the vision that Blue Whites has set up. And actually, Fourth Wall not even getting the vision fully onto the Raptors, instead choosing to place the ward into the brush. So the information not fully there for... They baited the sweeper! So Yos doesn't find the ward. Now he has info, okay. Fourth Wall doesn't know exactly where I am, but there's most likely some vision somewhere.
Carvis look bot lane. They're setting up the trap here.
It gets Snorderme looking for the one-on-one early on. Maokai, one of those champions that needs a couple of levels to fully unlock the potential, and Senna, as we already saw, not the strongest carry in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, Blue Whites, they wanted to go for a play to deal damage on the enemy, but the healing coming out from Senna kind of negates everything they were trying to do. And with the rune page of the lethal tempo, they wanted to go for longer extended fights, but they can't even do that, mostly because Deletus is right behind them, meaning that this laning phase is going to be a little bit more defensive in this early stage. Still Blue Whites trying to make this scrappy, trying to find a way to get themselves a big lead.
Well, that's the level 2 play already going in, but with the Aftershock providing additional resistances, the trade's pretty even already. Both the potions gone from Fabio though, and Pipey as well, so small advantage being accrued, but they do need to wait a little bit before anything else happens on that lane. But top Victor already early advantage.
What is that base damage? My god, we should be seeing Poppy top lane a lot more if they can do that in the early. Of course, with the teleport available and with being able to build items in lane, does mean that Ornn will be completely fine. And you say the Blue Whites have won out in that trade. I actually think Fourth Wall are, even though that Aegis does have a potion up on the enemy team, the healing from Pipey and the mana regeneration means that they can just happily farm up, outscale the enemies. It's the only chance I feel like Blue Whites have to try and make this happen is if they burst them out and look for a dive, or instead wait for this level 6.
They are very aggressively positioning right outside of the tower's range to poke down Pipey, and Fabio eventually need to call the Java Nova if they want to make some sort of a defining play on the spot side. As you said, they are perfectly happy far. But back to touch on this top lane matchup a little bit. Poppy is surprisingly good into these tanky characters where well, never mind, here's Jarvan. Not gonna let you talk at all because Pipey's most likely dead. First blood secured by Blue Whites this time around, but the Unite ticking up will be able to finish off Aegis, and even getting the teleport out of Toxie to try and prevent any follow-up plays.
Yeah, Blue White's really happy with that play. Doesn't matter if E gets died. All the golden XP that Piper was going to pick up has been completely negated. The Jones might be looking here.
Oh, reverse Jarvan combo! I've seen this before. Fabian needs to touch the feathers though. Nice twisted advance, but the damage is still coming through. Jones able to pick that one up, and Toxie running out of mana, but the auto attack is enough to finish the kill. Will fall into the egg, but no minions to tank the tower. Can't get the follow-up kill. And a nice trade from Vault Wall to finish off that skirmish.
This Anivia is so good at this champion, Toxie. Play this more if you can, actually stopping Jones from doing that flag and drag that you talked about. But Fourth Wall, outside of the fighting, played it quite smart. Putting Piper towards the mid lane after he found that reset means he won't lose too much golden XP. Even having deleters before that, holding that wave to make sure that Piper can get back everything they lost earlier on. And quite surprisingly, is up in kills and golden XP towards Desire, mostly because of that wave being able to get pushed out, but it does look like Stormy will set up a freeze here.
And setting up the freeze is really good against a Maokai style lane, but this allows the Rakan to roam while the Anivia egg is down. This could prove to be lethal as Bomo is approaching level 6, so there's a window of opportunity there. They still need to worry about Deletus though, who already has serrated Dirk from his first back and will be dealing quite a bit of damage. But now, can we touch on this top lane matchup a bit? Because Poppy surprisingly good into tanks to Q max HP damage.
Yeah, you've wanted to talk about this for 5 minutes, and you can just see the amount of damage they've had up here. Teleport is available for both these teams, but no mana from Sir Victor will allow for Luxor to survive that engage. As mid lane doesn't have Prio, but bot lane does, we will see Yon starting up this dragon. Of course, we see that the leaders is up top lane, so there should be zero contention here, so it is going to be just a simple trade for the Void Scuttlers up towards top side and the dragon down bot lane. There's 4th Wall still in a pretty good position, should be able to set up a freeze here. I would have liked if Blue Whites actually stayed down bot lane, made sure that this actually got pushed in instead of helping the J4 up towards the dragon.
This still allows J4 to rotate a little bit earlier as they have the additional DPS there. Eggets and Snorterme both perfectly happy to eventually be able to poke out the Senna again before level 6. They are fine at playing from this slightly awkward looking position, but against Xayah, you can't really approach the minion wave. As mid lane, we have a skirmish. Jones getting caught out a little bit here. Bursted down by Deletus and Toxie. Just enough mana to get the kill quickly before they rotate out.
Yeah, you talk about the damage they can have early on, and you can really see it with the leaders at that sedated Dirk picking up another kill. This one going over to the Anivia towards the mid lane, meaning that it just keeps allowing the leaders to farm up, get himself a small lead. He's only up once, yes, but all of his camps will be spawning.
Whoa, they knocked Vegas underneath the tower. He's taking a bunch of damage. Fabio facing does not have the flash, but forces the cleanse out of Snorterme, taking a bunch of small little continuous hits from Pipey. Once the root is back up, they can go for the play. Ignite ticking, but the kill will go over to Pipey. Has the ultimate as well, so Snorterme needs to be careful so that he does not get sniped by the Dawning Shadow. But a nice turnaround there from Fabio.
Yeah, really well played from 4th Wall, holding on, waiting till they can find that re-engage. With Blue White is all up front damage, no level 6 available for Eget or Snormy in that fight. Means they don't have that big damage combo compared to 4th Wall. Means that they are going to be able to win out. And with this kill of the Senna being able to push out that wave as well, even though Senna is meant to be a late game champion, doing an incredible time early on scaling.
And this is like, it's English is hard sometimes. You can't really guess Senna's power efficiently on the bot lane because Maokai has so much just raw burst in his abilities. Senna being there, constantly auto-attacking me, even we can talk about this later, as we have another skirmish in the mid lane. Ultimate display of talent, supreme display of talent. Doesn't find a kill, but finds a ton of flashes away from Blue Whites, even using the Cataclysm to lock up Victor, but it's not enough, and Toxic picks up the kill. Blue Whites are looking for more. Here's the Oran Horn, but there's no follow-up, as FOMO can't find his way in. Nobody gets stunned by the ultimate, and there's a huge wave crashing as well.
It just feels like mechanical outplays from everyone on fourth wall, as every person on this is on comfortability mid lane on their main pick, jungle on their main pick, even bot lane on a well, the bot lane they played so much earlier on. Of course they're going to be able to outplay here, so Victor in a great matchup as well, as Fabio's almost at this level 6 mode. The lead just no ultimate available, but I see no reason why they can't maybe look for a dive here, except for the ult of Snormy.
Even with Jones there, I don't think they can test this dive, just due to Deletus being as strong as he is. Even without the ultimate, he can one-tap anyone who dares to pray too close. And Snorby pretty much the only member, I think, who can survive a full-on Kiana burst at this point in the game.
Well, you do have maybe Veloxa. I feel like maybe as a tank on, you should be able to survive Deletus' burst damage. But compared to Victor, I'm not sure if he can, as he is going to constantly be getting pushed out here. And when we're looking at where the kills are, 2 to the Anivia, 1 to the AD carry, 1 to the support as Blue Whites. They're wanting to go here, Pipey. Don't step up.
They look for the grand entrance, still need to find the route, doesn't have the flash, and that's a free kill for Blue White's bot lane, punishing the overextension from the AD carry. No support to find a defensive plane with. Instead, they go to the top side of the map, more members come in there, deny resources from the enemy jungle, and eventually move over to the court.
Yeah, small mistake coming out from Jones. He wanted to go bot lane to help with that play, but instead goes to that reset. Will be farming his bot lane camps, but I would have really loved if he got those Raptors and then got the Crux as well, and then went for piping.
Where is Victor? Victor's proxying. He's established. This is a way to establish priority.
Yeah, a little too strong as Pipey. I think we've seen this again as he gets his right behind him, and they have no idea of this.
And Snorby is there to provide additional burst wave, but here's the follow-up turnaround play as Victor and Toxic both channel the teleport. Jones is there to try and assist, but this is a 3-on-4. First comes down, but the kills traded over. 80 carry for support and another teleport coming in. Everyone wants to fight, and Veloxa looking for the kill. Oranhorn being channeled now, but Victor's there to cancel it. Possible. Never mind, W already used. Goes into the egg. Toxie will fall. Shut down going over to Snorby as Veloxa still between the towers, trying to look for more. Here comes FOMO with the Aurelion. Soldoni Shadow keeps his top laner alive just a little bit longer, but the damage too much to deal with as Blue Whites somehow, through all the chaos, turn the play around, and it's not over. Kiana's approaching. Ixtal, home to many a champion, although Talia Shuriman, this is not going too well on my tangent, is it?
I mean, I can't believe you. There was just so much going on all the time between both teams. Everyone except for Deletus was in that fight, and that was absolutely crucial for Blue White. As yes, they found the first good engage onto the enemy of Pipey, but then afterwards, Forful would teleport in Toxie with a great wall, meaning that the flash had come out of Snormy, pre-firing over that wall, allowed them to do enough damage to turn that fight. And then of course Pomo comes in, Yon comes in, and get themselves a double kill after this. And now 6-6. There's not even a gold lead to any of these teams. It's the exact same. But 3 kills onto Snormy, got really strong in this fight, means that this damage they wanted in towards the bot side is really going to happen as Desire has that first item completed.
The first item may not be enough though, as fourth wall approach the dragon, already being down to half HP, easily stolen away by the approaching squad. They want to look for Pipey, though can't target it, but he auto attacks. That allows him to use the Cataclysm, but the rest of the team is there to turn it around. Supreme Display Talent gets 2, but Dick is looking for the charms. They want the leaders. Damage is there. Snorby eventually secures it, but now they have to deal with the Anivia. Pipey's being focused down by the Aurelion Solid. It's a fight on 2 fronts, but Fabio not able to provide too much assistance as FOMO too strong. Can't even go for further play. Stunned up by Toxie, but but Eggets is there to cancel that ultimate, and Blue Whites once again coming out ahead in the early game eventually. The bird's quite fast though, Toxi's still alive. Jones has respawned, by the way. He's coming. This fight has been a long fight. Even getting a bit of the proof, the Wolves are assisting Toxi. Finally, the shutdown goes.
Yeah, Toxie holding on for dear life, begging for the enemy team to not kill him, but with no care in the world, Pomo will finally be able to pick up that kill. And now Zaya's got themselves another double kill, 5-1 mid lane, 3-0, and everything we're talking about being 4-4, everything going correct for them, is now turning a bit sour. This ASO with that ultimate coming down as well, it's looking difficult. They need to start making plays yet again around this Anivia, as this J4 just seems so powerful into the enemy team, especially when Sir Victor isn't there.
Sir Victor, the key member, I think, to stopping the Blue Whites mobility onslaught that they access the carries of 4-4 with. Both the leaders, Toxi and Pipey, not really able to play against the Cataclysm threat of Jones, and the eventual follow-up from Bomber just flying everywhere. They do need to unlock this Poppy somehow.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to get this Poppy unlocked, because if they take the top lane tower, it will allow them to move down further. But still, Dragon in 3 minutes, you just allow Sir Victor to scale up, allow the rest of your team to scale up. You still have a Senna, still have a Nivea, which can match Pomo for most of the game. There will come to a point where Pomo will be stronger, but Nivea being strong in her own right. So yeah, just calm down. Wait for the team to just scale up, as no towers have been taken, as everything that's happened so far, nobody's been able to find a major lead for.
So, something interesting. As I have played this game for quite some time, I know quite a bit about Anivia. We're going to talk about this later, because Nurmi, nice reactions on the ultimate, got away from the Kiana ult, and with teleports committed, they can easily turn around the play, and Bobo can chase a bit further onwards now underneath the tower, a little stuck underneath, has to flash the Donny Shadow, but Jones once more able to secure the kill, even chased down by Pipey, but it gets follow up, won't save the jungler. What? Oh, there's a tower there, what are you doing?
Yeah, going straight under the tower, still gets the kill onto Pipey, but you have to say that was the best possible case for 4-4 was mid lane and Nivea, picking up a tower themselves, Poppy as well, having the pressure there, but Snorby, 7 kills into their pocket, going to have 2 items after that reset, should be able to get there with their support, as this game is just fight after fight after fight, as there is a 2,000 gold lead over to the side of Blue Whites, as I think they're saying we are not going down without a fight.
Toxi and Pipey got a ton of gold from that, though. Getting the shutdown on the bomber on that interesting flight path right underneath the tower aggro range. Oh, that just did not work out for Blue Whites. And fourth wall, perfectly happy again to save a horribly gone wrong play. The leaders had the correct idea to go for the picks down the bot side, but Nurmi had the reaction time to cleanly dodge away and turn fight completely around. And since so many cooldowns were burned, they can just go for the Herald and keep the aggression.
Yeah, shouldn't be any contest, especially when Pipe is down towards the bot lane, who has got a lot more damage than you would expect, especially with this build, as that is a Blade of the Rune King, first item for a Senna. A build I haven't seen too much. You expect more of a lethality build coming out from Pipey, but wanting to try and get through the tanks of Jones and Veloxa, has gone site for a little bit more healing and a little bit more defensive capabilities, especially when it feels like she's just getting dove on so much in this game. As now fourth wall are going to try and get Prior over towards the river. They do have the ward advantage over the enemy, as Blue Whites will have to walk into them, but still, Rift held in hand, place that towards the mid lane will give them the pressure I feel they need to be able to pick up this second dragon.
Yet to be seen. You have Bomber coming in and clearing up the wave, and fourth wall not really in a position to defend Vision. And you spoke of the center build. We may have to return to this as the dragon has been started. Deletus does have all of his cooldowns, so if he wants to flip this away with a stealth, nope. Secured by Zaya out of all people, so Snormi with his burst damage able to deal that away. What I was going to mention is Anivia champion I'm very familiar with can go for 2 different builds. Usually against a tanky team, you may even see Malignance Leandry nowadays, but a fight's going to break out. Oh, the cooldowns burnt that they can. Ornhorn hitting on the 3, but this is an absolute nothing burger as they can't find a way in on either side.
Yeah, everything used on the side of Blue Whites. They just have to run for the hills, hide as best as possible. The fourth wall can now start setting up a vision line, maybe even get this mid lane tower. They should really look for a fight here.
Victor not popping the W to stop Eggets from shielding across to the team. And Toxan in the tower! He's tanking the mid laner trade from the bot side play, getting the Cataclysm on the 2, forcing flashes out of pipe and deleted. Almost completely untouched as Victor in the back line, trying to get at least one, gets Jones, but at what cost? These mid laners really love playing underneath towers, don't they?
He flashed forward to try and kill the AD carrier Stormy. Remember, he's the one that 8 and 6. 700 shut down if you kill him, but just too little too late. Insta gets jumped on, gets into the egg form, and half of their damage from Tox is just completely gone. So Blue White's turning that fight, getting themselves a lead and getting themselves the kills with a 3,000 gold lead. And still, that 1,000 gold bounty is not getting taken by anyone on fourth wall.
And Snormi on this pick that I even criticized a little bit. Can he play into the high range of this Senna in the later stages? He doesn't care. He just wants to kill everyone else. Let FOMO deal with the backline. He has the backline access with the flight, with the... I'm not even sure what screaming, yelling.
Just fire his breath at that point. Something along those lines. But
he's doing something.
You have to remember in that fight, we say that Snormi is the damage source. He basically dealt 0 damage in that fight because the instant got engaged and had to flash out to safety, meaning that they couldn't do anything. So it came down to Jones finding that re-engage and then Poma flying in towards the backline and picking up those kills. So a huge win for Blue Whites as they have great scaling going on, especially now that their mid laner has got to those 2 items, especially with that Rylai's Crystal Scepter, meaning that they can slow down and make it so much more awkward for Piper or Toxic to play this game as they have no dash to get out of it.
And speaking of the scaling, can we just mention, while being 8-1 and 6, Snormi has 215 CS, by far the highest in the game, and he's been participating in almost every single skirmish that's happened in this game.
Yeah, it's really difficult to play Xayah into these team comps, especially with Flash and his clans not being available. Hopefully should be up for the next Dragon. I actually think it will be slightly not available for then. Means that how is Stormy meant to play these fights? If Toxie ever hits a good wall onto them, they have to burn the ultimate and then you have the Deletus on top of that. It's very difficult. So even though Senna is going to be almost a Event Horizon in the CS department and only having 1.5 items, I still feel like Pipey has a lot easier of a time just to deal more damage in these fights.
As long as he gets to hit the enemy without falling prey to a Cataclysm or a Flying Dragon. Those are...
But that's where the hockey comes in, if you think about it.
Exactly. And we just yet to see Victor be that problem that we initially thought this puppy would be. As Blue White's being scary.
I would really want that. I actually thought that they were going to start Baron. The reason I like that is because you have Poppy up towards top side. You could have just forced the teleport out of that. Just completely got rid of that, as Veloxa could have moved as well with that teleport. However, instead, they will just place the Rift Elden towards the mid lane, as Warpool trying to get pressure, trying to push them away from it, and gain control themselves.
And this is the correct thing to do. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Veloxa being chased down by Victor. Is this a tower dive? He wants to go for it, but doesn't have the damage just yet to be that confident in his damage potential. So this just diffuses the entire Baron situation. Can't really do it if you don't have the danger of the Ornn approaching with an Ornn Horn. Instead, the teleport comes in now as they look for Victor on this bot side of the map. Dragons spawning in 20 seconds or so, and the reinforcements are flying in. The leaders and Fabio looking for the flank, but Momo flies in, wants to look for the Kiana. There's the ultimate already. One pick yacht. Eggets looking for Pipey as well. What happened to his 8 people? No idea. Apparently that's a double kill. That's 3 kills from Blue White. Pipey is just not a champion in these games.
Yeah, it just gets blown up. Having that rage play completed doesn't give you enough tankiness to stop them. As there's a big difference between Bobo and Pipey. One can deal with all of the burst damage you deal against them, and one just gets absolutely one-shot. Now Blue Whites having 3 members down on 4th wall, they should start this battle, should be able to secure it, unless Toxic Psych Strange on the cards as it goes in.
Blue Whites in a 2-on-4. Very confident from Fabio and Toxic to go for that, but again, losing a member for it. Can we have a soul check on the Senna while they approach? Is that possible production? Clicking on Senna.
67.
So he doesn't even have that much additional range. They finish off the Baron, and while Kiana can look for an additional play here, trying to find his way into the backline, he doesn't have his ultimate, so it's just regular old stuns if he has the Ocean Form. Victor joining in finally, trying to find a way in, but it's just not there, and Blue White's clean getaway.
Yeah, Kiana being an authority champion, only having 2 items at 24 compared to an Aurelion Soul, compared to this Xayah, it's really difficult to play this game because you don't have enough damage to one-shot them, and when you go in, if you have no way out, you're just instantly dead without that flash. Now, with that Baron secured on the side of Blue Whites, they are going to be in the driver's seat. There's a 6,000 gold lead for them. I expect for them to maybe set up in a 4-1 formation, try and get these outer side towers as we see the pings coming through, keeping this side towards the top side, making sure that you just kind of put them in a bubble where if the enemy ever tries to engage on them, Jones just one-shots Pipey, puts Toxie in an awkward situation, and Sir Victor needs to have perfect positioning for anyone on 4th wall to play this game.
It's just such an awful game for Pipe to play. Compared to the previous one where the backline axis wasn't that strong, this time Blue Whites has all the tools to make it there. And again, Victor, only 3 kill participation, hasn't really been able to participate, just been hammering away at the towers and at the Ornn. So what normally plays in the jungle and provides this W across the map just hasn't been there, and now Blue Whites are fully utilizing the gold advantage they have, trying to secure all these inner towers.
And they're doing it with complete ease. As this side now has that Kraken Slayer buffed up by the Ornn, making them even stronger than what we thought they could become as well. We see Acel almost finishing off that mana item as well. So we thought the Blue Whites are strong, but very soon they're going to get to a point where I don't think the 4th wall for a very long time can deal with them.
Jones diving in, looking for any stragglers, but it is almost a full team of 4th wall. Just positioning here to clear all of the Baron minions, but Bommel on the bot side of the map has been biding his time. 4th wall though, overloading, trying to find any picks they can get their hands on. Stormy, of course, burn the cleanse, but here's the flash from Fabio. They want to get the shutdown onto the Xayah, but it's just so hard to get to finally get the stun off. That's the shutdown there. Teleport coming in from Bombo now. They want to fight this. All the cooldowns have been burned already. Victor stuns up the Aurelion, and now it's save yourself if you can. Toxie goes into egg for Volxa. Somehow solo kills the Senna in mid lane. And yeah, the Malkash gets chased down. He can deny the minion wave for some time, but with Volux finding the solo kill on the AD carry, that's an inhibitor tower gone.
Yeah, minimum an inhibitor, and even more as Poma picks up another kill at the back of that, as Sir Victor will finally come in to stop the Luxor from getting the mid lane tower, but I don't think either one is killing each other. Luxor most likely can just walk out there, except...
Flash used. W able to provide quite a bit of damage for Veluxa, and Victor just bit off way more than he can chew on this full tank build. He just doesn't have the DPS to take down Veluxa from that position. Deletus trying to look for the kill, but Bubba's just flying past. Give him the thumbs up. Nice try, guy. But Blue Whites seem to be in full control with almost a 10k gold.
And remember, Carvis, what we talked about before this game, we wanted a more aggressive bot lane, we wanted one that scaled better, most importantly. And it seems like Blue Whites completely agree with us, having that ASI in the mid lane, having that Xayah down bot lane, and even harder engage with the J4 Ricard. It just feels like they finally found a team comp that really suits them. And most importantly, Pipey is so far behind, so Victor hasn't been able to do much getting themselves into the game, where it feels like Blue Whites have completely read what 4th wall wanted to do in just this draft.
it just it feels like they didn't really have to read fourth wall when it comes to their drafts. Is fourth wall revealed their cards pretty early. They first picked the Senna, okay, we've seen this before, and then they blind picked the Anivia. That's already most of the core reveal. So they drafted hard engage, prevent the low mobility carries from playing the game, and from there they just scale into the late game. Have the ornaments now coming in. You have the upgraded Leandri on Bommel. Now it's going to deal even more damage. It's not like he already dealt enough to one-tap anyone who gets caught in a stun. And with this, they can almost just brute force down at mid.
I mean, we didn't even talk about they grabbed themselves the souls. So they're even stronger than you thought so beforehand.
Oh no, Pipey's caught in the Cataclysm, taken down instantly. Victor, not able to save his AD carry, will just die himself. And Blue Whites should be looking to close out the game with just the Anivia left defending. That is a bunch of free with the mini wave approaching from bot. They have a Kiana flank to play with as well. If Norby ever missed position, but I believe they spotted him out there. Yep, now supporting the flank, so they have full information of the lead. Is waiting for the respawn. Still 50 seconds to go on the Senna. Biding his time. Deletus looking for any angle he can find, as Fabio still has his ultimate to burn. But with Blue White retreating away towards the Baron area, most likely not going to result in any play just yet.
Yep.
That's a timing. That is some timing.
Okay. The thing is, right, when I'm looking at Pomo, he wants to engage. When I'm looking at Jones, he wants to engage. So there's two options that happen when we finally get back into the game. One, Blue Whites comes in, they get the game. Second one, fourth will miraculously find a team fight, and the game goes longer. And I have to say, Blue Whites, where was this in the first two games, if we're being honest? It felt like they did some good stuff early on, but they weren't really able to push it further compared to this one, where they're constantly looking, constantly going in, and it feels like they finally have a game plan that they're sticking to.
It just seems like when it comes to Blue Whites in the first two games, it always was a critical, momentarily lack of focus that always let fourth wall snowball it out from there. And fourth wall has shown they are fully locked in this set. Sure, there's some individual mistakes every now and then, but if you give them a chance, they will take it and punish you hard for it. Still, this game though, a bit more of an advantage than in the first two ones. So expecting Blue Whites to close this out confidently. But if we recall ourselves back to when the pause happened, Fabio and Toxi were the ones approaching with Deletus on the rightmost flank. If they somehow interrupt Bommel with, say, an Anivia Q with a, I don't think Maokai had his flash up, so thing like or Maokai ult, Maokai W onto the Aurelian Soul, they one tap him without any chance of Blue Whites to retaliate. Maybe they have a chance to clean that fight.
Okay, I'm gonna remind you of a player which you clearly have forgot about. The AD carry Snormy. Okay, you kill the mid lane. Does it really matter when you have an AD carry that's basically full build 25, 30 minutes into the game? I would say no, as it's just been absolutely dominating the whole way through. And okay, let's put this game on the back burner for 1 second. If they get themselves the victory here, Blue Whites, because it's clearly their game to lose, if they're able to get the victory here, this setup, do they want to pick it up again? As if they leave open a card, leave open a J4, it just feels like it just hasn't had the prowess I feel like this team needs. So maybe if you play something like the setup, you need to ban away the J4, which leaves other champs open. And that's why I think if Blue Whites win this game, it'll start building that momentum and put 4-4 a bit on the back burner like we had in the last series against Rich Gang versus Vorzen, where one team won the first two, then Vorzen came back to win two, and then Rich Gang were able to come back to win the third. So it could really be the tide turner this game.
We just got some interesting info.
Okay.
Okay. We will look for. Oh no.
Okay, so for everybody behind the scenes, basically what is happening? Apparently, the jungler for Blue White is having a 700 ping plus spike. We're not too sure why it's
No.
happened, or has something else happened.
So apparently there may be a game-breaking bug. We are currently resolving the issue, waiting for updates from the tournament admins, but this is a first for me.
Same for me.
Uh, we will figure out as we go how do we resolve the situation, but
Just what?
huh.
Okay, let's think. What options are there? One is replay the game, but then that feels
I
kind of unfair to Blue Whites because they are in such an advantageous position. But you can't just give them the victory because they haven't closed it out. There's still opportunities for 4-4 to do this.
so I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going on historical basis here when it comes to situations like this, but as at this moment, I would consider this an overwhelming Blue White's advantage. And if this game was to be replayed, it would be heavily punishing them. So I don't think that's an option. Uh, the other option is if it like happened just now and is revertible. I think nowadays we have access to Chrono Break, which I'm not 100% sure on, but
I mean, that
uh,
is the best option, isn't it? Just go back a couple minutes before the game-breaking bug happened, just play from there. But still, that is something that we will have to figure out behind the scenes. As Carvis, this game seems done and closed, but still, they have a center, still have an Anivia, still have plenty of ways getting back into this game. Even though the Baron does seem most likely lost towards the side of 4-4 yet again, Senna's still stacking. Senna still will get to a point where she will become powerful, but it's hard as Blue Whites. I feel like they still outscale the longer the game goes, mostly because of this ASO already having a massive lead.
but again, this is it remains to be seen how the game progresses from here on out. But what we can do is talk a little bit about how we got to this point. We already have fourth wall 2-0 up in this situation, and as Blue Whites have started to turn the game around, it has been interesting to see how fast the adaptation happened from that game 2 that seemed in Blue Whites' control with the Annie.
Yeah, that Addy could definitely be a benefit in that second game if they want to bring it back. As I felt like Blue Whites were in such an advantage in that second position, especially with that early pick you talked about, where they had the lead, they had a way of finishing off the game, but then Psych snapped where one mistake led into another, and Blue Whites, who were in an advantage, of course not as big as this one, weren't able to finish off that game. So there still is plenty of opportunities for fourth wall to try get this through.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out. Sorry, this is a again unprecedented situation for the both of us, so we're trying to figure out what's the situation here. And yeah, damn, I'm I this is one of the situations where like all train of thought just stops, and you're like, this is such a weird situation where normally like casters prepared to banter and stuff. I just want to know what on earth happened.
Okay, so what could be so game breaking that it destroys the game? We saw in that last shot. Let's think about it. We saw ASO going forward. We saw J4. Maybe they used all abilities at the same time, spammed everything, and it broke the servers.
No, I
That
think the only thing that causes like would be considered a game breaking bug is something like, you remember way back when we had like, I think it was the item rework or something where Nami, no, it was Ivern W. Brushes broke some abilities randomly. When Ivern got his rework and the W got added as a buff, it broke things like Nami Q. If you step into a brush, Nami Q just couldn't be you. So it
yeah.
would have to be on that level. So
I mean,
this is
that's the curious thing because we do have quite a lot of unique champions in this game because we've got the Kiana jungle, we have the Anivia mid lane versus ASO, stuff that is rare to see in pro play, definitely, but still rare to see in solo queue. So if it is a game breaking bug, of course we are going to be on the tournament realm, which is a whole different monster in itself. All of those type of things can lead into such game breaking things because League of Legends is one of those games where it has how many champs at this point? Like, I remember last time it was like 130, it's probably like 160 at this point, or something along those lines. And all of them have to always interact together. As a game designer myself, when I make a game, there's always bugs, there's always ways that the player finds to manipulate it in a way where either they can get out of bounds or just completely crash the whole server. So it's kind of difficult, but that's kind of the fun of game design, huh?
Yeah, I have a ton of game designer friends myself. I think my favorite one that I've found, like I play a ton of games. Whoa, surprise, incredible! But
Okay. Yeah,
uh,
almost like 2,000 hours of Guilty Gear. Tells a guy like me, I just play it for fun, you know. Everybody at home, right? So you know how you have the League of Legends system where maybe somebody's level 50. For me, I'm level 400 and something. I played the game for too long. If I go against a level 50, they probably know they're gonna lose. Imagine me, somebody who is level 60 doing this game, that's like barely able to get ranked in League of Legends terms, going against a guy like Carvis who has 663 on this, 12 and a half times the amount of hours I have. And I'm like, okay, let's play. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. As this man is just pummeling me, well, just dominating me, basically. As Carvis, you want to say how good you are at Guilty Gear?
uh, Strive, I'm actually not that good at. Strive, I'm
Okay,
genuine. Okay, Strive is like I dabble in Strive, but in Exert, the game before that,
dabbles.
in Exert, I am one of the better European players when it comes to my character. Probably
Okay,
top
you
two.
don't have to be humble. You could brag about this. We got the time.
No, but I genuinely am pretty good at Guilty Gear, and I sometimes I like to bully people a little bit when they don't know what they're getting
Bully.
themselves into.
No, I hope everybody realizes before this cast, I was like, okay, let's have some fun. I've got 15 minutes before I have to get a warm up. This man is like, let's play a game together. You know, of course I don't want to play League so my mental can handle it. Of course, you can't play a game in 15 minutes. Gets in and Carver's like, let's play together, man. Let's have some fun. I'm not that good. Absolutely wallops me, absolutely makes it a terrible time. And if we're talking about game breaking bugs, putting you in a game, you make that game look game breaking.
Oh boy. But yeah, what I was about to go to a tangent about the game design thing that
Yeah,
you
go on, go
done.
on.
So um about the I was playtesting a game. I have a ton of game designer friends that let me play this games. It was like this. You had this Rubik's cube thing that you like span around with a piece
Okay.
of the cube, and you had to put yourself into the thing. That does the game itself doesn't really matter. I found a way that if you in a certain input sequence in a really short period of time are at the corner piece on like one of the really corner pieces, you could put yourself on the corner like this and just fly off. It was really funny.
Is it bad? Out of all people I know, Carvis, if I need someone to test my game, I feel like you'd be the perfect person to find those game breaking bugs. Because I feel like you play games in such a unique way, especially with sort of stuff you play in League.
uh, Sorry, I'm again working on getting an update.
Yeah. We're just trying to get everything behind the scenes, trying to wait for the people to give us updates. Remember, everybody here at NLC are trying their best to try and get this resolved as quickly as possible. This is our Thursday nights as much as yours. So if you do want to get yourself something quickly while we're getting everything ready and set up for you, as every single player, every single manager is probably in the same boat with us, as it gives them time to think about how to change this game, how to get the trajectory. As if Blue Whites learn how to maybe lose slowly, maybe there's still a chance in this game.
Yeah, this is a again unprecedented situation for those of you joining in. It's been a bit since we mentioned it. There's been a pause due to a possibly game-breaking bug, and we are trying to resolve the situation as fast as possible. And okay, so we're going to throw it to a short break as we resolve the situation. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back when we figure things out on our Hello, and welcome back to Division 2 playoffs. And, well, there is a reason why we are back after such a long break, because indeed, there has been determined to have been a game breaking bug in the game that just occurred, that happened multiple times within the series. Kiana Ultimate did not displace Aurelion Sol while flying properly. So it has been determined by the tournament admins that the game will be remade. We are starting off a fresh slate, and fourth wall continues to be 2-0 up. We are heading into a new draft with both Kiana and Aurelian Sol disabled.
Okay, so I want to make it very clear to everybody at home that this wasn't an easy decision to do because, of course, 10,000 gold lead, nothing to scoff at. From my heart to Carl's to everybody here, most likely Blue Wolves were going to actually, win, or Blue White, sorry, were going to win. The difficulty thing is, though, when you have a rule book, you have to follow it to the T. So, of course, because of that, and there was a game-breaking bug, not just at the end there, it happened multiple times during the game where they may have never got to that 10,000 gold lead. It's the main reason why it has been remade. Of course, now after Kiana getting off the table, now after Aurelion Sol off the table, completely changes this draft now that those prior picks aren't really going to have as much power as they once have. And most importantly, that Senna being so far behind never really happened. So, of course, both the teams going to have to go straight back to the drawing board. And it's going to be really difficult for the side of Blue Whites because they were in an advantageous position. They were meant to pick up a game, but now it felt like it's been snubbed away from them. So they're really going to have to, show their determination, show their pride, and show what their esports organization is about. Or if they can bounce back from this and still get the reverse sweep, I feel like that's something you have to have in the history books compared to the side of Fourth Wall where I think you're just wiping your head. You're like, "What, man? We need some more of that, at least in the regular split." But Carvis, I feel like that's enough about moping around, talking about the last drafts. What do you think is going to happen for the next one, huh?
Well, basically, we're heading into the draft with the same plan as before. What I'm expecting, though, we have to consider this previous game that now didn't happen that much in that the Zaya Rakan plan is now revealed. So fourth wall will be prepared for it, I'd assume. And the Senna priority has to be reconsidered. So whether they want to, for example, ban away the Jarvan, if they want to go for the Senna, or if they want to give, for example, the Varus or something a little bit less defensive over the Blue Whites instead of the Zaya Rakan, there is that option as well to the players of fourth wall. So a plethora of new options available.
Yeah.
For
Even something like a Tam Kench can stop the J4 for being as useful. I don't think the support of Blue Whites actually plays it. Still plenty of possibilities of how different that this draft could do. Or is there some info I don't know about Egets?
Egets is okay. So in the Finnish community, we play a ton of in-houses. There are two players that play every single role and every single champion. Those are Snormi and Egets. So they can literally pull out anything. I wouldn't be surprised. It's the main reason why you see from Egets the ton of these off-meta picks like the Zyra. He's one of the main players that has been pulling it out in the regular season. And he even pulled out a Pike earlier on in the group stage. So there's a ton of possibilities that can come out of that bot lane. The one that I'm most interested in is how will the top lane matchup turn out to be this time around, since the Poppy from Victor did not really work out. And
Nope.
The Ornn provided a ton of additional utility and additional scaling. So Blue Whites, again, have to approach this a little bit differently and adapt to what Faultful wants to look for on the blue side.
Now, my biggest difficulty with that last game, with that Poppy pick, instead of going towards the jungle, went towards the top lane. Because remember, they're against the Rakan, against the J4, when they have a Senna and a Nivea need to stay defensively sound. And with a Poppy up top lane, the only time they could ever join was teleporting down or when they're fighting up near the top side. And most teams like to fight for dragons instead of maybe a Baron, because that takes way long to get to. And because of that, Poppy didn't have the agency, didn't have the priority to help the team, got too far behind. So maybe if they want to pick up this Poppy, it has to go towards the jungle. But remember, their junglers never picked it up, at least this season. So it'll be very difficult if they haven't practiced it. That's why I feel like you just leave the Poppy open on the side of fourth wall and give that as a possibility. Remember, we are still going to have the side of Blue Whites having the first pick, getting themselves to have as much, Just
Fourth
fourth
wall
wall?
is fourth wall is
Okay,
on blue
fourth
side.
walls
We are
on
basically
blue
starting
side.
from nothing, and the side stayed the same.
Sorry, what game just happened?
Oh,
4-4 just 1-2 there. They're gonna get the clean sweep 3-0. Everything's usual. Nothing's changed.
it, it is a weird state to be in. Well, you have to draft accordingly. Speaking of which, production, do we have an update on the game? We've been talking for quite a bit. Okay, we're still waiting, so we can analyze this a little bit more. Another option again is why would Fourth Wall change the game plan when they are on the blue side instead and put Pipey on the Jinx again? It seemed to work out so far.
Yeah. Now, let's see if they can actually do this, because remember, the momentum is on the side of blue whites. They almost got victory, didn't actually come through in the end, but still, they had the building blocks like they had in first, second, and even the third game. It's just they finally got over their mid-game slump, it feels like, because blue whites, they could be very strong late, very strong early, clearly in the last 3 games, but that mid-game is usually where they fumble it, and they seem to have lack of control, it feels, of the mid game, where they don't know how to finish it off, allow fourth wall to catch them on a mistake and punish them till they get that victory. So blue whites do want to pick up a victory, get themselves to a reverse sweep. I really want some more early game aggression, because that J4 looked absolutely phenomenal in the hands of their jungler. Same with the Zai, same for the Rakan. Remember, this only happened because the bot lane made some massive mistakes in the 2v2.
Yeah. And not only the J4, Yo still has a ton of aggressive champions in his pool that he hasn't pulled out yet. Things like the Lee Sin that he's so famous for and played it pretty well, if I remember correctly, in the last stages of the group stages. He had a very good Lee Sin game there. There's the Vi that he's brought out a ton of times. There's, Sejuani, who is more of a frontlining tank, but still able to play quite aggressively if you have a ton of auto attackers paired up with it.
Okay, Carvis, while we have time, I still want to see the Camille support. I've been so excited for this pick, so excited for this champion, and no one plays it. No one plays it. Hylissang did actually bring it out recently for Vitality. Also got to see it over at the LCK. It didn't really work out there. I still want it. I want to see some aggression. And the only reason I talk about it, to talk about the Sejuani, Camille Sejuani support and jungle are phenomenal together. Because think about it, hook shot in, Halo Blades with Sejuani's passive, instantly find to stun up. They are just going to die, of course. Hextech ultimatum to lock them down as well. Plenty of burst, plenty of damage. And if I had to be one of these teams competitively, maybe one day, I would want that. I'd want some early aggression, early drama, as both of these teams have those pocket picks. And I feel like that's the thing I'm most excited about League, because you could agree, Carver. Sometimes when you cast League, it gets a bit boring. You always see the same teams, always see the same drafts. Cassante top, maybe a Gwen if you're lucky, if you want to get slightly spicy. So it's good to see both these teams have their pocket picks they can pull out at any moment.
Yeah, and again, Fourth Wall has very deep pockets as well. We haven't even seen half of Pipey's champion pool that he normally plays in solo queue. Usually people just ban out Draven, but he plays a ton of things like Twitch and Karthus as well, if I remember correctly from my prep. So I don't think they even shown those ones. So that still remains to be seen if they even want to go for an AP bot angle with the Karthus paired up with an aggressive support and have, for example, a Kindred in the jungle for Deletus. There's so many things that they most likely have prepared, things like the Ivern Rengar that they just haven't shown yet with the other players.
Yeah, Carlos, I am so proud that with a name of Deletus, you don't shy away from going exactly what your name says. I feel like when you're in the draft, you gotta get some deleted. You're like, probably ban, Rengar, Kha'Zix, anything that wants to jump into your face. And he just first slammed that Mengar in saying, I'm playing this, I don't care.
Again, sorry, I'm trying to figure out.
You've got your time. Yeah, we're just trying to get everything sorted behind the scenes, because a lot of these players are just as confused as us on with everything that's going on, because I believe this is the first time maximum is this first time this split, but first time in quite a while that we've had such a game-breaking bug. So everybody behind the scenes is trying to get this sorted as quick as possible. As to be honest, if you're a player and you had a 10k gold lead, of course it would be quite difficult, where you need to get yourself a reset, get yourself prepared, and get yourselves ready for that next game. A bit like Carvis is behind the scenes, talking to everybody, seeing if he can find anything out for you guys at home. As Carvis, we're just as confused as everyone.
Looks like we still have a bit more to go. So, yeah, this is again, unprecedented situation for I think everyone involved. Did not expect to head into this sort of a thing while uh, my casting career is still very young and ongoing. So it's just incredible. These sort of things, like you just go your day and see
I
what
mean,
happens, and it
come on, it's a
surprises you.
Thursday. It's a Thursday. What do we really have
It's
to do on a Thursday? Like,
it's
instead
a
of watching League of Legends, it just gives us more content, more time for them to see, our beautiful faces. Talking about really whatever we want is we have enough people here where we can promote anything, say anything, and it's not like League of Legends is going to stop us.
Yeah. Thursday think of it as like the ring finger of days. Like, what do you use the ring finger for? Like, as
You
its
get
main
excited for the
purpose?
weekend. That's what you do. Because for me, I'm going home because I'm at university. I get to go home tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, it's basically weekend tomorrow. So, like, does it matter? So I feel like Thursday's the excitement, the one to, like, get yourself ready for it.
And guess what? We are getting hyped for. We have the series tomorrow as well. We have I believe it should be J Real and
Yep.
Temporal
Temporal? Yes.
casting the lower bracket where we saw you were casting Ruse drop down into the losers bracket. They will be facing off against Garden Gaming down there in the
Mhm.
losers bracket tomorrow. So we just have a ton of Division 2 this week.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see how that playoff bracket is going to shape out. As Garden Gaming, a team that has just barely got themselves into the playoffs contention, most likely not expecting to get too far. But Ruza going all 5 games with Rich Gang, maybe a bit of an underdog, maybe a possibility to get themselves through Garden Gaming, maybe get through one of the teams here and get themselves another chance to fight Rich Gang. Because a big thing for a lot of these teams is trying to get to Division 1, get to yourself where maybe you can play in EMEA Masters. Because remember, Fourth Wall last season was in Division 1, did fall down sadly, but now they're trying to rise up, they're trying to get themselves back into a position to compete for EMEA.
Yeah, and Fourth Wall definitely looking strong while doing it. Had a bit of a rough start to the season with all that happened, but it eventually picked it up. The leaders has been a great addition to the team, just performing at a more of a carry style jungler, but the team adapted perfectly. And again, in this series, 2-0 up have been showing off some great team synergies and performances. And again, with the series still ongoing, the winner of this has to go up against Rich Gang, who has been looking so damn dominant in the league.
I don't. Okay, I can't agree. I get it. Okay, sorry, Carvis, I'm sorry. You're saying Rich Gang, oh my god, they're the beast. It's a bit like saying that it's the SKT of the LCK right now. For everybody who doesn't know, SKT is 15-3. Gen G is, I believe, like 18, 19, and 1. Clearly, slightly better. And it just feels like Rich Gang, yes, they're good. Yes, they're amazing at League of Legends. Clearly why they deserve to be first. But Ruza, our 4th seed, barely crept in there by beating Garden Gaming, if you did not know. They went to a 3-game series. Yes, Rich Gang beat 2, and there was almost a reverse sweep. But they looked very beatable. There were definite cracks in the Rich Gang armor, and I actually expect this playoffs not to be the cut and dry of, okay, first seed wins, second seed gets second, G2 wins, LEC, all that stuff. I actually think one of these teams can make a massive upset and rise up the ranks. I feel like Ruza could be it, or even of these two teams that are right in the middle, as everyone has been clumped up so closely in these NLC playoffs, and even beforehand, it's been such a tight league.
Yeah, Rosa has been like one of those teams that I like to compare them to Thunder back in the day when they and Venom Crest qualified for the Div 1 promotions, I think. No, it was Unique and Thunder. It was one of those three. Regardless, Thunder came in as one of these Dark Horse teams, and they.
Thomas,
Uh,
take a
okay,
look. I will allow you to do the honors because I felt like I don't even know what to say at this point. Go on.
yeah, okay. So, update on the situation. Blue Whites have officially forfeited Game 3. Fourth Wall takes the series 3-0. Well,
Yeah, there's not much we can say there. So to explain everything to everybody who has just come in, basically there was a game altering bug where we had Aurelion Sol versus Kiana when Kiana ever tried to ult Aurelion Sol when he was just jumping around and doing his stuff. he was never really getting ulted. And yes, there was a 10k gold lead from the side of Blue White. The big difficulty was that would have never been a 10k gold lead if these actual ultimates from Kiana went through. Of course, Blue White's thinking that they were 10 gold lead ahead. Not sure what was going on behind the scenes, but decided to forfeit the game. There's nothing we can do here. Fortunately for the side of Blue Whites, though, and fourth wall, they may have another chance to really redeem themselves if they still have the lower bracket final, meaning Garden Gaming will be going against the side of Blue Whites. And if they want to, come back with some vengeance and give us a great storyline, I feel like that's the place where they can start it.
Well, we'll have to see in the losers bracket for how the story of Blue Whites continues, whether it be a redemption story or not a fall from grace, an unfortunate situation all the way through. But regardless, congratulations to Fourth Wall. Even under the circumstances, they are advancing to the matchup against Rich Gang in the winners bracket. And
Carvis, we have to remember, we have to give massive praise because it feels like it soured the taste of the victory from the side of 4-4. Because the first two dominant games, which I feel like we should just harp on about, is they played incredibly well. They were able to get themselves great leads, get themselves into positions to have victory. And for them to pick up the first games in the situation and the facet they did, they clearly were the favourites coming in and were the favourites in the regular split as they won 2-0 in the regular split. So now, in head-to-head in the past season, it's 4-0 if we don't class the last game to the side of Fourth Wall. So, an incredible job to them, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do against Rich Gang. So Rich Gang's one of those teams that's very difficult to go up against, but we've seen there can be defeatable by Ruza, and I feel like the side of Fourth Wall have a great opportunity here to get themselves back in Division 1.
Indeed. But with that, there's only so much analysis we can do on the of this. We are not going to have an interview today, and we are just about ready to wrap it up. Again, we apologize on the production side for the delays. Thank you everyone for sticking around for the updates and throughout the pauses that we had. And thank you so much for joining us for this series. I've been Carvis. Thank you, Santos, for joining me. And we'll see you tomorrow for some more Division 2.
That'll be good.